All right, two things. First off, I'm going to do a second time thing. I'm refunding bullets, but I'm also bringing the rules closer to what they actually are. Bullets cannot be traded between players. And secondly, you must declare that you are using a bullet before the dice are rolled. All right, so if at any point you need to know what bullets can do, you're welcome to ask me. When you have none of them yet.
Yeah, no, I went. Remember, he gave me a bullet to save my life last time.
So bullets cannot be traded, and they must be declared before the dice are rolled.
And they still count as legit, real bullets, too.
Yes,
right?
they still count as legit, real bullets.
Which is funny because you were giving me back the one I gave you from earlier.
So the brutality of the game is about to go up.
Great.
So we can no longer give each other bullets.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Now, there is a group-wide bullet counter that you can all draw from. We need to remember this. Anytime any of you critically fails and keeps the critical failure, so it's not something you bullet off or whatever, then a bullet goes into the group's doom track, sort of. It's actually more of a help track that can be used by anyone. That is the group resource.
That is an awesome rule. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So there can be up to 3 bullets in your group kitty. All right. So with that said and done, now we are ready for the recap. Who wants to do the recap? Brodor has suggested Motimer because he is too.
He's on the naughty list.
Or as I call him now, Murdermore.
Murder.
Yeah.
Either way is acceptable.
Yeah.
Let's see. We started off with Motamar learning some new games, although he thought they were old games. We also determined that he needed glasses, so he's got these big, thick, horn-rimmed glasses.
And they're reading glasses, too.
Right.
They're like for in close.
Right. Then we flashed to the group running from the gunfire. Lee suggested going to Sunset's house and to tell Sunset's mom about what was going on and find out kind of what was behind his mysterious death. Lee came clean with a lot of his plotting when we got to Sunset's mother's house. She indicated that, what was his name? I don't remember his name. Ratman, or something like that, was...
Has the group actually put together his name? Like,
I don't know that any of you have ever. I think the rest of the group has seen him.
no, they've seen the picture Lee drew of him and Lee met him. I don't think anybody has put a one-to-one.
Did you guys see him?
I don't think anyone knows.
in the prologue game.
No, because he met with Pops by himself.
He met with Pops by himself.
We don't even know that Pops met with a Rat Man.
I don't think anybody knows the Ratman name in character.
Yeah, the name I know. It's only been used out of character. He's never called himself the Rat Man. But he did to Pops. To Pops, he called himself the Rat Man, I believe. But he's not used it to anyone else, including to you. I don't think he's ever called himself to you the Rat Man.
Right.
Sunset's mother described him to us, saying that he was the one that Sunset had met, was waiting by the door, and as if he was waiting for this guy to show up, sitting in the chair that he never sat in, and that this guy had worked out a deal with Sunset to throw the fight in exchange for medicine to cure her cancer. Space medicine. So the Duchess was injured and she has to appoint a proxy during her recovery. And we found out, or we put it together, that Miss Lily's grave was in jeopardy, that her notebooks were of importance. And so we went to Cliff Cave Park. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. to try and intercept whoever was going to dig up Miss Lily's grave. We got there and she'd already been dug up. And the astrology notebook
Yep, the book of what she saw in the sky at night
was missing. And then we were being observed by Ists who didn't really truly act like Ists because someone had obviously paid them to be there.
Potentially.
Well, we found the weird coins on the last dead guy, indicating that he probably was working for whoever was behind it. But
Or he stole them.
it was purely by accident that he didn't survive.
Okay.
It's in the recap.
But yeah, so there was a fight. There was a Ist up in the tree. There were mounted ones who thought they were going to get the jump on us, but our genetically altered horses laid the smack down on them. And the leader of the Ists knew who Motomar was, recognized him from the medallion that he wears, called him son, which set Motomar off. Because Motomar was actually trying to prolong his life so we could question him, and then he said that, and that kind of snapped him. And that's pretty much where we left off, as far as I recall.
It triggered Motomar.
Yeah, it was a trigger.
Yeah. You didn't appreciate him presuming your gender.
Right.
Okay, so when the game picks up, it is late at night. You guys did a couple-hour ride out of St. Louis through what used to be the suburbs and then into, I believe it's Cliff Cave Park. So whatever the park is directly south of JB, I think that's Cliff Cave. JB being Jefferson Barracks Park, for those of you that aren't local. Excuse me. And then that all happened, and that was where we left off. You had described...
Cliff Cave's not part, JB.
What is the park that is like the southern half of Jefferson Barracks Park?
It's not Cliff Cave. Cliff Cave is way in Oakville.
Okay,
It's on the other side of 270.
Then I may have the wrong park. She's buried in that park, whatever the southern part of...
Cliff Cave works, though. I mean, it's right on the river.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with Cliff Cave. We'll just stick with it, so...
Yeah, Cliff Cave's right up against the river.
Yeah. Because if you... whatever case. All right, so we'll go with that. All right, so you had just taken care of reburying her body. You had then taken the horse that had survived, along with its the tack and anything of use you could salvage from the Iss, and had loaded it onto this horse basically to add to your wealth. So I upped your wealth card. And so your wealth card could have gone up from that. And then we're on your, well, go.
So after we've searched the bodies, there's no hatchet or folding shovel or small pick or anything like that, like a digging implement, is there?
You do find a pair of hatchets, but they don't have dirt on them, and these are weapons or maybe things for cutting wood. This is not what you would use to dig a grave.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
I guess you could.
All right. Well, then I look at the rest of the group. What are we going to do with these bodies?
Piss on them?
Well, we need to do something with them. We need to... I mean, we can't bury them. We don't have tools, but we need to put them someplace.
The dogs will get them.
River?
I'm with Motomar. River.
The problem with the river is they're not going to sink. They're just going to float down. They're just going to float downstream.
From here?
Leave them for the dogs.
Well, that's...
Dogs gotta eat.
We can't just leave them to be scavenged by something.
They would have eaten us. They're not people anymore.
They were people, and that requires a certain amount of respect.
Have you ever seen what happens when they raid a town?
No, I haven't.
They don't respect people.
But we're not them.
No. Doesn't mean we have to take the time to bury them. We have more going on. We have living people to worry about. We need to get back to St. Louis.
If more of them come looking for them and find them here, they won't search anymore.
Because they'll have found us.
So they're not going to come look for us if they find their dead friends.
No. They were beaten in a fight.
If I came across your body and somebody just left it in the field, I would do my damnedest to find the people who hurt you.
Yeah. What's his name?
Modamar?
Points at one of the dead bodies. What's his name?
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
My point is it doesn't matter. We have to treat them with some respect.
I won't piss on him.
So that's what it's like out here?
No, not necessarily. There are people who stand against them. People who are worse than them in certain ways. There's people who are trying to live, trying to get by. I mean, it's a wild and chaotic place. The further out you go from St. Louis, the wilder and more chaotic it gets.
I understand the sentiment. And if this was in the middle of the day, if we had shovels, if we had more time, people are dying in St. Louis.
But these men died because of us.
They died because they were sent here to do something.
This doesn't sit right with me.
It was a lot of killing, taking of human life, defending ourselves, them defending themselves. It shouldn't sit right with you. It shouldn't sit right with any of us. But it is what it is. Now, we know Lily. We respect her. We love her. Bury her. These others, casualties, and look at it this way. Nature will take care of it. And I don't mean that in a sort of, brush off sort of way. Things will live because of them, because they're here. Nature will consume them. It will take them over. Plants will grow better out of them.
If we bury Lily, they'll know it was us.
Well, just to take a step back out of character, that's the first thing that Lee and Joe did at the end of the fight. Before we did anything, is we buried her again.
Okay.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't help is because I'm hurt.
Well,
Not bad.
I'm hurt too, Wayne. You guys
all
don't trust
hurting.
me anymore.
This time I got shot.
Yeah, in that case, then, yeah. We buried her. They'll know it's us.
Doubly, I mean, he's absolutely right. We should absolutely get moving.
All right. And obviously, Dan, they didn't have any armor because I know that it wasn't used against us in the encounter. So.
Correct.
All right, then let's mount up.
Joe,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel better if we burned him?
I don't want to start a forest fire.
It is October.
We're near a beach here. We can get it far enough it won't start a fire, and that'll be a lot quicker than you're trying to bury him. And he just keeps glancing kind of over at the pace that was one of them.
No, Lee's right. We don't have a lot of time.
Right? I just want to make sure you're good.
I don't think I am good, but we need to go.
So I call.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, you guys mount back up and begin the ride north back towards St. Louis with the 2 GC horses, and then the 3rd horse you've taken. I don't know what the right word is there. But
We killed their owners in cold blood and stole their horse.
okay.
I mean,
Yes.
I am a lawyer, so
Yeah. The horse that you salvaged, and it's loaded with any possessions of theirs that were worth salvaging, and you begin the ride back north. By the time that you arrive back at the St. Louis proper, you pass along the riverfront as you're before you turn inward a bit to head toward the color complex. And near the arch, so where that open market is, you can see that there are actual St. Louis standing army soldiers that are out there, weapons slung over their shoulders, and they are constructing what appears to be a fairly long gallows. So they're, to use a vernacular, they're putting up the teak. And when you guys, I'll assume, then head inward toward House Color, toward their complex, by the time that you guys arrive back there, it's still dark. It is now very early morning. The sun will be rising within the next hour or so. There's already that sort of faint bluish tint to the sky, and you can't quite see the stars as well as you had before. But the sun has not yet risen, so wild guess is it's maybe somewhere like 4 or maybe 5 in the morning.
is it quiet, or is there do I hear gunfire?
It's actually very quiet. In fact, abnormally so, apart from the occasional patrol, you don't see, I mean, it is the middle of the night, but you still don't see anyone out and about. In fact, it looks like they may be holding some kind of a curfew. But
None of the patrols, approach us though.
no, they don't bother you. So when you guys get back to the complex, you can tie up the horses on the in the courtyard where they were before. Just you have a 3rd one now, and the color guards recognize you, of course, and let you back in.
I go to one of the color guards. So, what's the situation? What happened?
Right now, there's a lot of waiting, seeing. What I can tell you is the overseers asked for any of our healthier wounded that were involved in the shooting. Right now, I think they're making a show of force, keep the peace. Nothing big. No fighting yet. A lot of people want to go at it, though. A lot of anger, a lot of tension. A lot of worry about what happens if Duchess doesn't make it.
How is she doing? Do we know?
They don't tell us, but she ain't dead. Imagine word like that. You can't keep quiet in a place this small.
Well, good luck. Lee walks off.
When you guys arrive in, your compatriots that you left behind, Casey, Emily, Dr. Marshall. I think that's it. Did you guys leave anyone else behind? I'm forgetting.
The boat crew.
Well, all right, the boat crew. They're with the boat, though. They're not. They were never in the complex to begin with. So, Emily's passed out. Dr. Marshall is nowhere to be seen. Casey is awake, and he's sitting in a chair in the door of one of your rooms, like the doorway, such that he's not blocking the hallway, but he can see the door in.
Yeah.
And when he sees you guys come in, just very quietly looks each of you up and down, notices that Wayne is bleeding and looks at him the longest and says, where'd they hit you?
I kind of open up the jacket and show and see kind of a graze. Well, it's right there.
He takes a look at it. Says, keep it clean. It'll be fine. Or whenever she's not tending to someone else, I guess we have a doctor you can ask now.
That was the plan.
I'm sure she's got some strong alcohol she can put on there. Hurt like a bitch. Not as bad as infection, though.
Probably not as bad as when I got shot.
That wasn't a gunshot wound?
No, I'm out of here. When it actually
Oh,
hit.
when it actually hit.
Yeah.
Got you. No. Actually, it's going to hurt worse.
Joe, we leaving right now? Or we waiting a bit?
Well, what we know so far isn't much, and I don't know if what little we know is going to make any difference to the situation. What do you think?
I think we have another boat to catch. And the longer we wait, further they get.
I agree with that. And before we left, when we encountered Cyrus on the docks, it was obvious that his boat was gearing up to leave anyway, so they've got quite a bit of a head start.
But do they have anything on board, though? Any items they're trying to sell? Do we have any kind of hint on that? Is there any way we can find out? Somebody must have wrote it down somewhere.
We go to the docks and we ask around.
Because we find out what he's got on his boat.
Mm-hmm.
We look at your book.
Mm-hmm.
We know where he's going.
Right. They have a harbor master, I presume?
Yeah.
Okay. We can check the harbor master.
I'll go right now.
I didn't even think about this until now, but are the docks open?
I'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, if they're trying to keep people in to get to the bottom of this, they might not let us leave.
Do you need company?
He looks at Casey.
I can come. Probably shouldn't bring the rig.
Probably not.
Casey, do you know where the doctor is?
Just upstairs. Need her? Well, I guess. Shouldn't be asking you, Phil. You need her?
I'd like to see her, but I think more what he's thinking is if we end up hitting the river, we're going to take another boat. We're going to need a doctor.
I'll go get her.
All right.
I would certainly like to be bandaged up professionally.
Lee pulls Philip away. As you go up,
Right.
Lee pulls Philip away and kind of leans in, away from Motomar. You don't let Joe or Motomar in a room by themselves. Got me?
I kind of nod.
Lee takes off.
Okay. So you're going up with Casey to...
Yeah.
Okay. You guys go upstairs. This is actually your first time being upstairs. There are more bedrooms, more quarters, a few storage rooms. The quarters appear to mostly be holding guards at this area. From what... Actually, you worked for Caller. You've been here before.
But I left.
Yeah, but you...
No. I mean, Lee, walked out the door just now.
Oh,
Lee and Casey were headed toward the dock.
I'm sorry. I got confused on who was going
That's
where.
Yeah, Joe,
Okay.
so Joe's going to get the doctor.
I lost the
Yeah,
plot
and I'm
there.
going
Yeah.
upstairs with Joe.
Okay, so Joe and Philip are going upstairs. Okay, for you, this really is the five. Sorry, rewind. Joe and Philip, you guys go upstairs. From this is your first time upstairs, and when you first hit the top of the stairs, what you're walking past is quartering for guards and laborers. You're guessing the more valuable people are probably housed deeper in safer places. So you don't see anyone here that's masked. You don't see anyone here. There are quite a few closed doors as well. Some people are sleeping. You can hear nervous conversation from inside some of the rooms. Others have doors cracked open, and a room that's meant for two is 6 or 8 people standing around in it with their rifles on shoulders, talking in hushed tones. But as you kind of look around the halls, it's not a huge building, and it doesn't take terribly long to find Dr. Marshall, who's chatting with Dr. Abrams outside of a room whose door is closed, and there are 2 guards with guns at ready standing outside of it. And upon seeing you guys approach, she excuse me to Dr. Abrams and walks over straight past Joe and to Philip and lifts up your jacket. She's like, the hell did you get done to yourself?
I got shot.
No shit, you got shot.
You should see the other guys.
I'm not responsible for the other guys. Tell me this didn't happen in the city.
It didn't happen in the city.
There's not some bullshit story here, is there? You didn't go out and you got...
Ists.
All right, let me get my medical bag. Why don't you... This probably isn't the best place. Why? Come over here. There's a room that we can use. She leads you down a couple of doors and into a room that, by the looks of it, is a first aid or clinic, and sits you down on a chair. And she grabs the doctor's bag, opens it up, and takes out a clean linen, dumps some alcohol on it, and yeah, it hurts like a bitch. And once that's off, she looks the wound over, probably gives it a couple stitches, and then wraps a bandage around it.
I'm kind of waiting to see if Joe says anything, because I'm just kind of trying to keep from making a fool out of myself while dealing with the pain.
No, Joe's just standing in the corner, just watching stoically.
Yeah, while she's doing it, she just says, I'd give you something for the pain, but I'm worried you wouldn't learn anything.
I learned a lot tonight.
Oh, as she's wiping her hands, getting ready to start. And I said, go on. What did you learn?
Not ready to talk about some of the things I saw, but we got word that something valuable that we had buried years ago was about to be dug up, and we went to stop it, and there were people waiting for us. We got ambushed. I learned what happens when you tell a GC to attack.
A GC shot you.
No, an IST shot me.
GC ist.
I told the GC to attack and watched a person turn into paste before my eyes.
She
I can't unsee that.
gives you a blank look and says, you know, I was going to make a comment about the horse's size, but I've been doing this long enough to know when the look of trauma's real. All right. She brings out a hypo and injects you, and within a matter of seconds, you feel real floaty and a whole lot better. In fact, things just don't bother you the way they once did. And not a whole lot hurts.
So this is what that felt like.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find some other way to work this out in the long term. I'm not getting you hooked on that. Don't have enough to keep you hooked if I wanted to.
We're going to go take a boat.
Take a boat as in steel, or take a boat as in your own?
Well, we don't actually want the boat. We want the person on it.
He's right. But
You're going to kill somebody on a boat, all right?
Oh, no, 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 not kill. We need to talk to him. And we need him to talk to other people.
yeah, when Lee and Casey get back from the docks, they'll have some information for us, and we're going to have to leave pretty soon, so we wanted to make you aware to just prepare your things.
An ugly, fat white man.
There's a lot of those around here. Look, I'm gonna... Joe, I want you to think about something. I don't know exactly what kind of detail you cut with the Duchess. I'm not sure I want to know. What I do know is that part of that deal included those ridiculous-ass pirate swords you have.
Oh, I thought they were stupid too, but these things work.
I don't doubt they work. I know that you guys have guns, you have knives, you have,
We have Modamar.
as I was about to say, every instrument you have to take a man's life. What you don't have is anything to bring you back when that goes wrong. And I'm not talking about his psychological problems. That's going to be a flower that'll blossom in its own time. I'm talking about the fact that, haven't you thought about the fact that they're going to shoot back and eventually one of those bullets might hit something worse than flesh between two ribs? Why the hell did you ask for these silly-ass swords and not, I don't know, a breastplate? A helmet?
Point taken, Doctor. I need you to be ready to leave soon. I don't know how long it's going to take for Lee and Casey to get back, but I need you to prepare your things. And then I'm going to kind of lead her away from Philip, kind of turn our backs, and I'm going to show her my right hand, and my arm is shaking.
I'm not drugging you.
And I whisper to her, I can't get it to stop.
She takes your hand and looks it over and kind of squeezes a few places looking for a reaction from you. Okay, she turns around, goes to a little flower vase, takes one of the flowers out of it, holds it up to your nose. Can you smell that?
Yeah,
She takes it down a few inches, says, can you still smell that?
a little bit.
She takes down a few more inches. Can you still smell that?
Real faint.
She puts it back in the vase. That kind of shaking. Seen it in anyone else in your family?
No. Pops would just, I mean, when I was younger, I saw other men, especially after a fight, get kind of rattled like that. And he would say it's just nerves.
Ah. So, this started tonight?
Yeah, just a few minutes ago.
That's... Yeah. Sit down. She leaves your chair and kind of... She doesn't give you much choice about it.
Okay.
She sits you in a chair. And she goes back to her medical bag and says, okay, I lied. I guess I am giving you something. And she takes a draw on the hypo and she walks towards you, hypo in hand, and says, what you are dealing with is something that is called psychological shock. Something has happened to you that is affecting you mentally in a very severe way. And, well, it could get a lot worse before it gets better, like right here, right now. So I'm going to give you something to make you fall asleep for a while until you wake up and maybe feel a little bit more calm. And we'll talk about this more after you wake up.
How long is that going to take
To fall asleep,
to wake up?
she puts the hypo in you and says, depends on how long since you last slept.
Okay.
Good while, probably. You might want to get in that bed over there because you're going to fall down.
All right, well, I'll undo my sweet sword belt, hang it on the bedpost, and lie down.
Once he kind of falls asleep.
You draw a dick on his face?
That's for a little bit later.
Okay.
Dr. Marshall? He he asked Modamar to help save one of those ists, and Modamar drove a knife into the ist's skull. He watched his friend.
Sorry, audience.
He watched his friend murder someone in front of him. I'm worried about him. I was a lot more worried a few minutes ago, but
She sits down on the edge of one of the beds that's right next to your chair.
this was a bad night.
Why'd he kill him?
You recognized him?
He killed him just because he recognized him?
The ist recognized him, called him by name. Modamar grew up with the ists, and he was rescued.
Did Modamar seem to know this man?
He didn't. I didn't see any indication he did before the man called him by name, but it was like he snapped. 1 minute he's trying to treat him. The next minute the man's dead, and he looks back at us and just says, "Didn't make it." And he does his Modamar impression, which is probably really bad since he's drugged.
So,
Didn't make it.
so Modamar kills a man for recognizing him. And Joe didn't want him to do this?
No. We needed information from the man. I don't think he's ever seen something like that. I haven't. But Joe's close to Modamar. I mean, they're like brothers.
There's something about being a doctor. When you're helping people, they tell you a lot of things. They get real honest. Maybe because they think they can trust a doctor, maybe because they got nobody else to talk to, maybe because it's the only point when people really recognize just how vulnerable they are.
It's not just that for me.
No.
I talked to your sister. I shared every...
Let's not discuss that. Well, when you talk to these people, you start to learn things about their whole world, not just them. You know, the problem I see with you guys is, I mean, there's what, half a dozen of you here in this complex. You guys act like you're close friends. You sail together. You have your adventures. You do whatever it is you do out there. Do any of you actually know each other?
Some of us do.
Do you?
I think I know Joe pretty well. And
I
think he
know
knows
what
me
I
pretty well.
heard at Mr. Zadel's house. I know what I'm hearing now. Sounds to me like you guys don't.
Ain't-
Like you know of each other. Maybe you could quote all kinds of facts about each other, but you don't know each other. I mean, he just killed a man for knowing his name? And that surprised every one of you?
I did.
I mean, if it surprised you, then apparently there's something about his past you don't know. Maybe a lot of things about his past you don't know. Sounds to me like that's what he's trying to kill. He didn't know this man. He wasn't trying to kill somebody in the present. He's trying to kill past. What is it he's trying to kill? Or is it even in the past he's trying to kill? Is he upset about who he is or who he might be? And he's trying to kill that. Or is he so bloodthirsty he doesn't even know? He just gets off on it. Do you even know?
We don't know his past. Doesn't talk about it. Doesn't want to talk about it. We know it was bad. We don't deal with this. We go up and down the river buying and selling things.
But you are the sum of everything you've been through. Every wound you have, physical, mental, social, Every one of them. It's the story of who you are. If you don't know those things, you don't know the person. I mean, I was there to hear it myself. So Lee's been telling fibs. Why is Lee fibbing? Why's he got you guys cut out of this huge portion of his life that shaped who he is?
I'll give you, I don't know who he is these days.
These days? What do you mean these days?
He changed when he came to the city.
He came to this city years ago.
Yeah. Pops used to have a saying. You don't know a man unless your life's in danger with the man. Never made much sense to me till tonight.
So what'd you learn?
I learned Mortimer has a dark side that I never saw. I learned that I need to be more careful what I tell the GCs. That they have a lot more power than I thought. And that Joe is a good man. And that the rest of us are going to drag him down. He wanted to bury the bodies of the Ists that didn't make it.
Did you?
No. We talked him out of it. Because we needed to get away before more came. And we needed to get back to town. The day he doesn't do it, doesn't suggest it though, it's the day I know that we've dragged him down.
I hate those damn horses. Because they do exactly what they're told. They don't think. Not that way. They don't have any kind of compass to them.
Horses didn't kill those men, I did.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I've seen people pulling the reins of far more powerful things with far darker hearts.
Thank you for listening.
Lee, you and KC reach the riverfront. Are you going on foot?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys...
I mean, unless it's like a long way away, which I don't think it is.
Yeah, okay. No, it's not terribly far. So you guys get out to the riverfront, and by the time that you reach it, the gallows have been fully erected. And there are several ropes hanging from them, ready to go. They're, once again, still St. Louis actual military guards milling around. You see, there are people who would work at the docks, whether they're people that work on behalf of St. Louis or people that are passing through that are now, they're starting their day. It's getting close enough to morning that if they want to get the most out of the sunlight, which is obviously a pretty big deal for river traffic, they, have to start getting on it. So they're moving cargo around and cutting deals and chatting, and some of them are going in and out of Old Man Mortimer's, getting breakfast, and he's angry at birds or whatever it is that has his particular fancy today.
Yeah.
And so you having worked this place before, you know that while houses tend to keep track of their own traffic specifically, do their own deals and such, there is a harbor master run by the overseers that it's kind of like everything goes there.
Right.
Even if it's not always read, it still has to go there for records.
Okay.
So, and there's several reasons for that, but once again, it's not carefully monitored.
Sure.
But it's there should anyone want to look at it.
And we know the name of the captain, and we know the name of the boat, right?
That's correct.
What was the name of
It
the
is
boat?
Cyrus,
Piasaw.
yeah,
Oh,
Cyrus
sorry.
Weiss, and it is the Piasaw.
Okay. Well, I guess I go up to the harbor master.
Okay, you go to his office.
Office, yeah.
Well, one of his assistants greets you.
How bureaucratic versus how much am I going to need to grease the wheels here? Or
Probably not.
okay.
These guys, once again, it's their job to keep a copy of what's going on in case it ever comes up in a legal matter that one of the houses is trading in or stockpiling in something they shouldn't be.
Right.
These records are for the most part just stacked up and collect dust, but should an audit ever be called, woe betide the person where it doesn't line up.
Okay.
So typically, no. This place is actually arguably a bit dangerously lackadaisical.
Okay, well, I walk in.
Okay, you walk in, and then one of the harbor master's assistants, younger guy, probably an apprentice.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe older teenager at most. Says, "Good morning, sir. Is there? What can I do for you?"
Well, I need the manifests for the Piasaw, who is left, a day ago?
Yeah, you probably left it.
Yeah, I give him a general time.
Okay, can I ask for the reason of the inquiry?
Well, I have reason to believe that the person who is commanding the ship has been, shall we say, ostracized by various houses and should not be trading. And I wish to see if he has any contraband. Now, obviously, I don't think the contraband is anything actually a contraband, but that it's just things that he himself is not allowed to trade.
Though up to this point he had not at all been involved in this, once you say that, the actual harbor master, older guy,
Lee knows how to get things moving.
not old, but
Or thrown in jail.
not super old, but an older man, looks to be in his 50s. Hair, despite only being in his 50s, is stark white,
Sure.
but his features, you can tell he's a bit younger than. And he perks up upon hearing that and walks over to you and says, if you don't mind me asking, who are you exactly?
Well, my name's Lee McCormick. Remember, I cannot hide. I've got the incognito thing.
Yeah, let's see if he knows you or knows of you. Okay. Well, Mr. McCormick, seeing as how you are an associate, at least, of House Caller, and Cyrus Weiss used to be with House Caller, I'm a little concerned that your reason for wanting to see these records may complicate matters for us here.
Well, he takes out his walking papers and he sets them on the counter and slides them over. I am in no way associated with House Caller or any house.
Yeah, apart from staying there testifying on their behalf.
This is true. But I was called merely as a material witness, not as
Right.
an associate.
Okay, so let's say we open these records and everything's in order. Then great, we both go our merry way. Let's say we open these records and everything's not in order. Do you have any idea what kind of unholy shitstorm that is going to create, not just for my office, but for this entire city?
Let me put a third option on the table. We don't open the records. And everything's not in order. And it gets found out later.
All right. I get it. I'm not stupid. But let me make something clear to you. You cause problems for me, I will find you in hell and personally butt-fuck you.
Noted, sir.
He goes over to a
Common legal defense.
he goes over to some shelves, sorts between some separators, and pulls out a couple of sheets of paper, puts them down, and flips through it with you, you don't get the idea that he's nannying you so much as he himself
Right.
wants to see what's in there. Like, now you have him worried.
Yep.
So it's kind of like,
Oh, absolutely. I have my notebook out and my black pen, and I'm taking notes.
yeah, he's on Tenderhooks as much as you are. What he was shipping appears to be predominantly relatively insignificant things. Some tallow, some salted and dried meats, some weapons parts. I mean, nothing like,
Right.
not like,
Not
you know,
like grenades.
no, yeah, it's just like, you know,
Gun barrels.
precisely clean kits, things like that. Some kegs of oil. It's really kind of generic general store sort of goods. It's nothing that to you jumps out as like,
Well, I'm not the one who's going to analyze it. So for me, it could be actually very specific stuff. I wouldn't be able to draw the map, but he
so
might.
okay, so you make a copy of it, but yeah, just that's what's in there. Like I said, nothing outlandish, like something like the parts to an A bomb or something.
The person who wrote this down is, I assume, their initial or their name is, it's listed.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you know this person? No, cut to the chase. Are they trustworthy? Could they have been bribed?
Oh, I mean, anyone can be bribed. I just file the papers. The character of the people that hand them to me, to be honest, isn't my problem.
There's a difference between a little bit of honest graft and completely on the take. Where would this individual lie?
If I had to guess, since you know this person. Yep. Actually, he's a good guy.
Okay.
He wouldn't, if he checked this out at all, he's going to write what's there. He's not a liar to begin with, and even if he was, especially with everything going on right now, he knows that to send off someone like that with any amount of deception, it's going to get him in a world of hurt. He's got a wife. He's got 3 kids, 2 of them grown now, but still, not the kind of thing you just want to walk away from. He's got a good gig here. He's had it many years, about as long as I've been here.
That's fair.
So, no. If this is what he said, then unless he was deceived, and profoundly so, and that's what was there.
So, changing subjects slightly with all of the recent issues, as you say, my associates and I are going to be wanting to shove off on our boat. Is there going to be any problem with us shoving off?
Did you fire a weapon at the trial the other night?
No, I got shot in the ass, but
Well, being on the receiving end of the bullet's is not my problem. No. The only people I've been told to stop is anyone that specifically works for either house, and most importantly, those that were involved in the shootout.
that would be none of us.
Then no, ain't nobody going to stop you. They might ask you some questions on the way out, but
Sure.
no, there's nobody being stopped from moving.
Excellent. All right.
Keep things looking normal until maybe they are normal again.
Well, thank you much. I appreciate it. He saunters off, says, Casey, how about some breakfast?
Sure.
We'll go to that crazy guy.
Okay. By the time that you were done with breakfast, is there anything more
No.
you wanted to do down there? Okay. By the
Oh, shit, right now? No, the real game!
Yeah, love the expression, the real game.
You plebes and your role-playing. Oh, yeah.
so
It's all, you're just pouring some popcorn now. You were trying to sneak my note.
what kind of flavor of popcorn is that, bro?
That's a great question. Herbs and spices.
I'll try to look at a little of that. See how that is. Is it like Kentucky Fried Popcorn?
pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I saw the Trader Joe's and I thought, whatever, I'll give it a shot.
All right, so Chad, does that change your course of action on anything?
Who is TB?
Tuberculosis?
Yes.
Uh,
Her father?
yes.
Gotcha.
Grandfather,
Okay.
yeah, but
Oh,
yes.
yeah. With my breakfast, you said.
Yes.
I put in my satchel.
Okay.
I'm a mailman, man.
That you are. All right, so you get back to by the time that you return to the complex along with Casey, the sun is now fully up. It's a little bit into the morning, 6, maybe 7 in the morning. Motomar, are you still awake?
Yep.
Okay. Motomar's wide awake. Casey's with you. You are...
I bring Motomar a breakfast burrito.
Okay. Motomar, you were brought a flat piece of bread. It kind of looks like wrapped around eggs and beans and
I'll sniff it.
some bacon.
I knew you'd be up. These two probably passed out.
What are your Japanese
Oh,
things?
yeah, the mochi. Might be a little soft.
Whoa.
It's ice cream, and it's been sitting there.
Yeah,
so-
I know. I'll see if I can figure out a way to magically eat this now. Yeah, I don't think that's possible to eat without a spoon.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mochi became Nochi.
So yeah, when you walk in, I'm flat-footed on the floor.
Oh, man, I
squatting
get bonus
down.
to attack.
Yep. And I'm dropping checkers into a Connect 4 game, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, easy
You win! Congratulations!
every time.
You win breakfast!
I grab it with 2 hands, and then I squeeze it. And
You are a unique individual, Motomar.
unique.
Means not like much else in the world.
Is that good?
Emily
Yes.
wanders into the room.
My dear, you have mail.
What?
You have mail.
Yeah, I know what the phrase means.
You have mail.
Okay, may I have my mail then? You want to get paid?
This is my job.
I thought your job was some bullshit with Joe.
Yeah.
Fine.
I have a lot of jobs. This is my job. I get paid to deliver mail.
Okay, fine.
Just think of it this way. You don't have to pay me extra to read it to you because you already know how to read.
Spy on us.
Shut up.
She takes out 2 silver coins, hands them to you, and is like, Your Majesty,
Plebeian, your mail.
I hope it wasn't too much trouble to walk it up from the riverfront.
I could have been waylaid by pirates. Good thing I have this cutlass.
Yeah, they gave me one too.
It's taller than you are.
It's heavy. Why
don't you give it to Casey?
Because they gave him one too. This was Joe's dumbass contract. Everybody has a cutlass. We might starve out there.
Wait a minute. Did they give the crew cutlasses?
I don't know. I haven't been to the boat. Probably.
Here's your cutlasses, boys.
Damn, I can negotiate a contract.
Yeah, couldn't you have asked for... I mean, we're probably all going to die out there, but at least we're going to look like Treasure Island when it happens.
I know! It's great. I mean, yeah, that's cool.
Can I see the card pack?
Sure.
I'm 99% sure I remember what exactly was in there. Okay. She takes out the 2 letters, looks at one of them.
Where the hell did you get 2 silver coins from?
What? You're shocked I have money.
Well, I'm shocked you haven't been, like, robbed or something, or spent it on ice cream and bubble gum, or whatever the hell
Because
you
thanks to you guys, I look indigent.
Yeah, you do.
She can hold herself better in a fight than Lee.
She opens one of the letters and blah, 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 blah. Okay. She walks out of the room. By the way, Phil and Joe both passed out upstairs.
Are we supposed to be going?
Good luck. She goes into the room across the hall and closes the door.
I go up, I knock on Joe's door.
No answer.
I peek in.
Oh, wait. No, Motomar. Wait.
He was with me.
But Motobar was bunking with Joe.
Okay.
Oh, Bunky.
Yeah.
So he was...
So you already know he's not in his
Oh,
room
okay.
because, yeah, you were just in with Motomar.
Where's Joe at?
He went to see the doctor and didn't come back.
Where's the doctor?
I don't know. Upstairs, I think.
Oh.
I'll go with you.
Okay. I go upstairs. Is there a lot of activity in the house, wherever we're at? Building?
Okay, so when you guys are downstairs, this building is it's very solid. A lot of brickwork, a lot of thick wood, and so noise doesn't carry very well. I mean, it echoes. There's crap acoustics, so it echoes in the hallways. But once you're in a room behind a closed door, sound does not carry very well at all, much less from floor to floor. Once you go up to the second floor, there is quite a bit of activity. The color guards and some of the laborers are standing around, and they are rather heatedly, they're not yelling, but they are very heatedly arguing amongst themselves about whether to give them up or not. That's the middle of the conversation you've walked in on, is whether to give them up or not. Now, if you try to pass through them, they hardly even pay you any mind. They kind of like take a step back to let you through, but their eyes are still locked on each other.
I walk forward and pretend I didn't hear anything.
So they make no attempt to stop you. They just take a step back and let you right through.
We should probably go.
Yeah.
I'm looking for Joe or the doctor or Philip.
You find them. There's an open door to a room that is large enough that they've converted it into an infirmary. And in the back, well, the close right corner, so the front right corner, there's a chair and a couple of beds. Joe's asleep on one of the beds. Phil's is passed out in a chair, and the doctor, she was lying on one of the beds, but as soon as you walk in, she opens her eyes and sits up.
Is there anybody else in the room that isn't?
Oh, yeah.
Doctor?
Lee, what?
We should probably leave immediately.
She just kind of shakes her head, and
I start
like not like no, but like
Yeah.
trying to pull herself together.
I start trying to wake up Philip.
Philip, you wake up all right. You're foggy. You would definitely rather go back to sleep. Nothing feels all that pressing, but you can be woken up.
Lee?
We gotta go.
What happened?
Is there anybody with an earshot if I whisper?
If you whisper no.
They're going to start hanging people in the square. House Color has to hand over people. There's an argument going on right now about whether or not to hand over their comrades or protect them.
Oh, shit. We need to go.
Yes. And Joe, wake up, time to go.
Joe, give me a 2d6 plus body.
2d6 plus body.
Look at that body.
Go look at that body. 14.
Nice body.
Okay. Joe, have you, Brodor, ever had a moment where you're awake but not quite awake?
Oh, yeah.
You're just kind of that somewhere between state where if someone would stop talking to you, the split second they did, you'd be right back in La La Land.
Yep.
That's exactly where you're at right now. You are awake, but I mean, you're not fully conscious. Things aren't quite fully lucid, and you are holding on to that by just the barest of threads.
bat at Lee's hands and try to sort of roll over and pretend that he's not there and go back to sleep.
Okay, guys, I'm making an executive decision here.
You're saying I lean in. Captain, you're needed on the boat.
Huh? What's wrong with the boat?
You need to get down there and see.
If he can't move, we got to carry him.
What?
I nod. Give him a minute.
I look to the doctor and say,
It's not going to wear off in a minute.
he wasn't hurt. Why is he like this? He wasn't hurt.
He's hurt.
Well, let's save the existential dread here for later. Doc, are you ready to go now?
I've been ready to go now. Joe told me to be ready to go.
We're going now.
All right. You are going to have to carry him. Big guy. Casey walks over and picks Joe up and puts him over his shoulder.
I very ineffectively pat Casey on the shoulder. Sword, cutlass, sword.
Oh my God! I take it sword. I got it. Let's.
Okay. I fall back asleep.
Nice swaying of the walk. And
Okay, so you guys, I'll assume, leave the complex, grab your horses, and head down to the riverfront.
yes.
Okay. Once you reach the riverfront, you are intercepted by a pair of guards, the actual soldier with the black and white half and half seal on them, and with rifles in hand. And they stop you guys and say, any form of identification?
Well, my name is Lee McCormick. What's your name?
Mr. McCormick, is there anyone that is accompanying you right now who is a current or has been within the past 2 days member of House Color?
Out of character question for the lawyer in Lee. Because we're from Herman, are we considered to be part of House Color?
No.
Okay. That's all I asked.
That's
out of character reminder. The doctor.
the doctor is the only one that's true.
I look at him and I say, well, I turn around, I look at everybody, and what I'm actually looking at, does the doctor have any insignia on her?
No.
No. No one here is part of House Color.
They kind of look you guys over. One of them still turns to the other and says, it's good to me. All right, you're free to go about your business. Just don't create any ruckus. This wouldn't be a good morning to do
Absolutely. Does the doctor have a sword?
it. Actually, they did. She's
Is
a
she
crew member.
carrying a sword?
Carried isn't like it's probably like sticking out of a bag of.
Is it on her possession?
Yes, it's in her possession. She's not wearing it, but it's.
The reason I ask is because if she wasn't, I was going to give her Joe's sword because it makes her look like this crew of idiots.
Yeah. Oh, it's sticking up out of a bag. Very like.
Excellent.
You can tell she resents its existence, but knows that nobody would let her leave without it.
It is a flag flying high.
Yeah.
Lee is smiling as he's walking down the pier.
Okay. She follows behind you guys. Alejandro's sitting on top of the.
Does he have a sword?
Actually, yes, he does.
Oh my God!
As you approach,
Damn, I'm good.
he draws it and actually points it to the sky and goes, "Hail and hearty, brother!"
I take mine out of the scabbard and nearly slice Philip with it, and then I go, "Hail, good sir! Ahoy there! Any pirates?"
Nay, landlubber.
Well, we have the captain in an incapacitated state. Permission to come aboard.
Permission granted, just don't raise the bones.
I looked at
He's
it,
like-
Emily, and I see the look on her face that has to be on her face now. I'm like, I know the swords are stupid, but they actually saved our lives last night.
You know the one good thing about my life up until today? I never had parents to embarrass me.
Me too.
You've missed out. I will make it my personal mission to embarrass you.
Oh no, that's quite all right.
No, I can't have you not experience that.
No, I've experienced it just fine. Besides, Phil, it'd be a real shame if you killed someone else.
I kind of have this. My face suddenly goes kind of flat.
Alexander's like, so captains had one too many?
We'll go with that. Too
All right.
much grog, ye matey.
He's sorry, fine. Captain 6 sheets to the wind. So what's the...
The plan is to push off. We need to go downriver with all due speed. Philip needs to read this, and he hands Philip a notebook. And we will give you a specific course, but we must be underway now.
All right. You heard him, gents. Let's get those lines up. They start pulling in the mooring and getting untied from the piers and all that such. And they take out the I forget what they're called, but the poles that they use to push off with. And they push the ship off and then restow the poles. And once you guys get going, let's do a simple luck check here. Actually, there is a decent breeze that would help. So they actually do deploy the sail, and
I climb up to the top of the that roof, the whatever the hell we're calling it, the party deck.
sure.
I climb up to the party deck, and I call Mortimer, come here for a sec.
Yeah.
I point to the dock. I motion to the dock. You know, all the markets, the bustling and stuff. Is anyone watching us? And I don't mean like kids' curiosity or anything like that. Is someone watching us right now?
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay, give me perception, and you may use your scouting skill.
Okay.
Yeah, pick your best two.
So 17.
17. Okay. The answer is yes. As you guys are departing, it's not something that you're... Well, actually, no, you're still pretty close to everything. You guys actually haven't gotten that far. But there are available to you. A couple people have rifle scopes or various things they're using like telescopes.
Mm-hmm.
And as you are pushing off and heading down, you do see a pale man in red-lensed goggles sitting by one of the legs of the arch, and he is waving quite directly at you.
How far away?
Oh, good distance. Somebody's up by the arch, so...
All right. I go.
Do you have the
Yeah, I've got
what
a
is it?
scope. Yeah.
I take the scope. I look. I'm like, that motherfucker. Shit. Lee is visibly upset. We're still in the process of casting off. We're not okay.
Yeah, you haven't the boat's not that fast.
Right.
It's not like they just dropped 200-300 power horse engines, and now you guys are...
Philip, is there any way we can get Joe awake?
Doesn't seem like he's waking up. If there's a call that needs to be made, we're going to have to make it.
The guy. He's by the arch. The guy with the... He takes out his other notebooks, was drawing. This guy.
We got to get him.
How? He's going to see us get off, and he'll be gone by the time we get there.
I look at Motomar. This is more your thing. But we need him alive.
All right. I'll take back my rifle, pull my one last bullet, and look at Lee. Like, you want me to use this?
We need him alive.
Fine. What do you want out of him?
Who's talking?
Family.
Everything. Do you know him?
No, I don't know him, but who do you think's going to have an easier time sneaking up there? A little girl who knows how to hide because that's what she's been doing her whole life? Or everything's edible?
shit. How alive do you want him?
Everything's edible.
Philip, do you want to make the call or do you want me to make the call?
Emily, go.
She takes off all the random accoutrements that she has and dives overboard.
I trust her.
She's a beast.
Motomar,
Yeah.
if that man hurts her, shoot him.
All right. I hop down. I find Alejandro,
Okay.
and I say, "Hey, you know how I said that we need to get underway like really quick and get out real quick and stuff? We need to get out as slowly as you can realistically make it."
Sounds good to me. He goes over and they remove the sail and
Well, no. I mean, like, it needs to look like we're still leaving,
oh, that's easy
but
enough.
just really slow now.
All right. Let's see if we can drop any of the anchors and keep it under wraps. He also notices Emily struggling a bit in the water and very casually throws a piece of wood overboard, which she grabs and uses as a kickboard to get to land. Because swimming's not one of her strong suits.
Apparently not.
I don't like waiting.
So we wait.
Okay, so you guys are just going to...
I'm going to try and wake Joe up.
Joe, give me another 2d6 plus body check, unless you have something unique to
Oh no, a 10.
do the familiar scent of his bunk and his own farts. It's nope.
How far are we from shore at this point?
Not terribly far. Maybe a dozen yards, 24 yards.
Okay. Maybe I should go to shore. But
Well, what's she going to do? She didn't really quite think this through. What's she going to do? She can't take him hostage. It's not like she's going to grab him.
based on the doctor's description, if he really is a spaceman, he's probably pretty weak.
She's 10. I mean, she's got a gun. Sure.
He's got a gun, got a cutlass.
So do you guys just wait for this to play out?
I got him. I asked him to keep an eye on, so if he hurts her, shoot him. But
Then what?
I'm thinking, I'm gonna try to get to shore.
Okay, you were going to try and follow after her?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm letting her go first, but
See, this is what happens when you sleep on the job.
Oh, I'm telling you what, I feel like the actor that played Garibaldi on Babylon 5. Like, what was your favorite episode? The one where I was unconscious. Easiest gig I ever
Everyone
had.
just saw that roll, or I assume you did. I did it 100% above table. That is, she got a crit success on her sneak check.
That's
Nice.
beastly.
So,
She
Wayne,
always does.
you don't see her.
okay.
I mean, her driftwood or her little paddleboard plank is too far up on shore to simply wash there.
And
She
that's
must
what-
have left it there,
I'm heading towards the
but
arch when
she's gone.
which is, like I said, I wasn't looking to see her. I'm gonna head towards the arch slowly because I want her to get there first. But
Okay.
I'm basically, if something goes down, I want to kind of be her backup.
Okay. So you guys are just waiting this out?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll speed time up here as I describe the action. So a couple minutes goes by, and Wayne, now that you're on shore and close enough to see this, you see her just appear out of the crowd, just out of nowhere. She just isn't there, and then she's there behind him, and taps him on the shoulder, and he turns around, is rather startled, and his gestures, his posture's all very friendly, and they're sort of talking back and forth. She says a few things to him, and you can see him shaking his head, and he holds up his hands like, no, no, no. And then she points at him and rather sternly says something, and he stops for a moment. His head lolls off to one side, and he shrugs and nods, and then she begins walking back around toward the beach.
Does he follow her?
No. In fact, he actually turns and walks away from the arch back into the city. Or toward the city. I mean, it's not like he teleports there, but he's walking back.
Or does he?
No, he doesn't.
Hmm.
The arch is a mimic, though. It eats him.
Yeah.
One of the legs comes loose and it's a mouth.
Cool. That wasn't on the tour.
He's walking towards the city. She's walking back the other way.
Yeah, she's coming back down toward the beach.
Okay. Is she between me and him?
At the moment, yeah. I mean, yes. If you were
Okay.
to draw a straight line, yes.
Okay. I'm walking towards him with her kind of in between.
Does she see you? Are you staying like way out in the open, or are you making any attempt at all to conceal yourself?
No, I'm not considering myself
At all. Okay, then she sees you.
because I want her to see me.
Okay, she didn't have a very good roll there, but if you're not trying to hide, then she would notice you. So, okay, she sees you, and she walks towards you. As soon as she sees you, like her sags her shoulders and rolls her eyes, and when she gets up to you, oh, come on, I'm given one job, and the entire time, other than clean the bilge, and somebody has to come watch me do it.
I trust you, but if you were going to tie him up and bring him back, I thought you could use some help.
I'm not going to hog time in the middle of a future war zone.
So, what did you do? What did you get out of him?
Lee brought me some mail. I mean, come on. How dumb you gotta be? How many people are just randomly sending letters right now? You think I didn't know who was responsible? There's one for me and one I was supposed to deliver without opening, so of course I opened it. Told him I wouldn't deliver it if he didn't show up at the rendezvous point where I'm supposed to drop it off.
Well played. Where's the rendezvous point?
Where the cargo's going.
Where the cargo's going?
Yep. Letters for Colonel Temper.
Interesting. All right. Good job. Like I said,
Thank you.
I had faith in you. I just thought you'd need some dumb muscle. That's what I'm here for. And she can see I have no muscle on me.
So I'm scoping, and I'm giving play-by-play to Lee. She's talking to the pale man. Now she's walking back. Now she's talking to Philip, and now they're walking back.
Fascinating.
She takes the board that, by this point, probably took a bit. So your boat may be a little bit downstream.
We're going slow.
Yeah, and on top of that, even at full speed, the boat's not that fast.
No.
So even at a jog, while it would take some doing, somebody on land could catch up to you. So it's, like I said, the boat's not that fast. Even in a good current with wind in your favor, you're talking to maybe 3 miles an hour.
Well, that and when we see him coming back, we're going to stop.
And so you guys didn't get all that far ahead. So you guys may have, kind of gotten to a distance from them, but they're able to catch up, and it takes a little bit. But let's say by lunchtime or so, it's all sorted out, and Philip swims, and she uses her kickboard, and then once they're there, they use the hooks and such to haul him back up onto the ship.
Is he awake yet?
Give me another check.
As we're walking, I'll ask. So what's in the letter?
Bam.
Get another one. It wasn't the greatest of another one.
It is not the greatest, but that is
Still
a 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wake up and are surprisingly feel well rested. You're surprisingly lucid. You remember being distraught when you went to sleep, but at the moment can't quite remember why. And fortunately, your mental searching is interrupted by Philip shaking you, or whoever it is that's waking him up.
Yeah.
Lee shaking him. Okay, so Lee, you wake him up.
I look
Oh
up.
my God. We've been on the boat for days. We took the wrong turn. We're in Kansas.
You can't get to Kansas on that river. You must have taken a really wrong turn.
It was an amazingly wrong turn.
How long have I been out?
A couple hours.
The doctor gave me something for my nerves, and I just couldn't wake up. Where are we?
On the boat, sailing away from St. Louis.
Do we know where the Piasaw's headed?
Oh, now do you want the boat to go back to full speed?
Yes.
Okay. They have now...
Does Alejandro peek his head in?
Actually, yeah, it does, bro. You want it at full speed, brother?
Yes, please. Thank you, Alejandro.
All right. He goes back up, and you can hear the flump as the sail unfurls, and you can hear them pulling up the anchors, and I mean, it's not fast, but
Sure.
the boat does noticeably pick up to probably 3 miles an hour.
I'm confident that I left Casey in charge of the boat.
Well, let's just say some decisions had to be made by the executive committee.
So, right around then would be when I come in with Emily. We got another story to tell you, Captain.
Yeah. I get up and I put
They're
my sword
also,
belt on.
both of them are soaking
Yeah.
wet.
If anyone fucked with my bag, I'll kill him.
What is going on?
We found the spaceman.
We have the spaceman?
We don't have him, but we know where he's going.
How?
I look over at Emily.
All right, before I tell you this story, am I correct? I'm not the one cleaning the bilge for a while.
Oh, for quite some time.
Okay.
She did good work today.
You know, I always think so too. So, they wanted somebody to get our friend to talk. So, I jumped overboard and nearly drowned. And fortunately, Alejandro threw me a plank, and so I kicked to shore. And I went up to him, and he gave Lee 2 letters to give me. One that was for me that just said what I'm supposed to do, and then another one I wasn't supposed to open, and I was supposed to give to Colonel Temper when we got him to drop off the cargo.
And of course you opened it.
Of course I opened it, and it's a paid offer for Colonel Temper that I assume, because I don't get a whole lot of mail, that probably at some point had been in the hands of our friend, Dickhead, or whatever his name is. So I found him on shore and told him, look,
His name's Lee.
no, the guy that, the other dickhead, the one that gives Lee the mail. So I told him, non-boat one, that he's got 1 of 2 options. Either he can be there and he can meet us for a nice little chat, in which case I'll pass the letter off, or I can monkey wrench his little plans and change the contents of the letter to be the exact opposite, because the letter is sealed with my family's seal. So I can either put a monkey wrench in his little plan, or he can hope he races us there and wins, or he can show up and have a little chat.
So the Moon Man. Wait,
He's
so
from the moon?
I doubt it. I don't think anybody lives on the moon anymore.
It's crazy. He's just from space, not the moon.
What?
Maybe the moon.
it was just a figure of speech that we were. It was just something we were calling him.
Something you were calling him.
Yeah, something I was calling him.
I don't think too much of it. It's just because he's from outer space.
Well, the doctor. Look, let's set that aside for a moment. What the letter that you obviously read that you weren't supposed to read? What did it say?
So,
Who's offering to hire Temper's militia?
And to do what?
my grandpa,
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
to Garrison Herman.
In the event that
I don't know. I assume in the event that things between Kohler and Holloway go sideways and it becomes a shooting ground.
okay,
Granddad always was a thinker, So maybe he's just figuring put something else on the field that makes the shootout there a little bit too costly for both sides.
Okay. All right. So obviously we have to make sure that this letter gets delivered because we've got to be there in case the Moon Man shows up. But do we know where Cyrus is heading?
Not yet.
I handed over. I have the manifest
Yes.
of what is on his boat. Handed over to Philip. He has not had a chance to. Oh, please tell me you didn't jump overboard with it.
No, I wouldn't have jumped overboard with it.
With the book. No, it's just one big ink blot. Butterfly, cloud,
So,
Godzilla.
Philip, have you had a chance to look at it?
Not yet.
Okay. Well,
Why don't you dry off and
All right. So, Philip, I will give you your choice between smarts and social, and you may use your 3d6 merchanting skill. So, 3d6, pick the best two.
All right. I'll do social.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. So 11 plus 8, 19.
All right. The particular. Okay, so at a glance, it's the type of stuff that you could sell piecemeal anywhere, just about. Anybody would buy it. But if you were to presuppose the whole thing was meant as a package, so we're not selling it piecemeal, we're not going to play general store, but instead we want to offload all this cargo to one party, who would that party be? You can only think of one party that would want this particular combination of supplies, which would also be Temper's Militia.
He's going to Temper's Militia too.
all right.
There are other mercenary or vigilante bands out there, but
But it seems obvious.
well, if you look at, for example, the particular makes and models of gun parts and things like that, it's things that are idiosyncratic to Temper's Militia. And the real giveaway is that there's a particular crate of a bottle of spirits that he is personally fond of. And so there's just, like I said, there's some things about it where that's how it looks to you. Now, he's got a good head start on you guys.
Yeah.
So he may be there and gone by the time you reach it. But that's where he's headed.
So, what is beyond? So I know we're heading south down the river. What is beyond that would be places where Weiss could trade goods or pick up goods?
Assuming he doesn't turn back north,
Right.
if he keeps going that far south, he's going to be entering the extent, the far reaches of where St. Louis has any strength or authority. The last major settlement down that direction where he would be able to pick up good cargo, indeed it is a town that thrives and only survives because of trade. If without it, it would be not just dead to St. Louis, it would probably be dead, period, is Cape Girardeau. So if he keeps heading south and wants to reload there, or wants to reload, there meaning to the south, the only logical place for him to go would be Cape Girardeau.
If he goes north, we'll see him.
Correct. If he goes north, unless it's the middle of the night,
Well,
you would see him pass.
So can I make a riverboat captain roll to try to assess the size and capability of his crew? Because coming back up the river against the current is a really it's very difficult work and very slow.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and make your check. Now, Wayne's rolled well, so fair warning. This is the die demons may have moved you.
Now, if I want to re-roll that as a bullet, is that correct?
Yes, that is a bold if you want to just flat reroll.
I'm going
the whole
to
thing.
flat re-roll the whole thing because I'm doing the riverboat captain competence
Now-
3K2. There we go.
Okay, I'm not gonna. Yeah, you get another die on top of that.
All right, so that
Is 16.
16, right? Plus,
We're gonna go with smarts on the.
so that would be a 21.
Okay, so 21. So that's a really good success. Okay. So on the 21, here's what you can assess about his boat. his boat looked a little bit beefier than yours. You're guessing it's physically a bit tougher. You're guessing it can probably haul a couple more tons of cargo than yours can. There were two distinctive dark things mounted on either side of it that at a glance may not have meant much to you, but now thinking back on it, you think he may have a pair of swivel guns on it.
And you guys laughed when I negotiated that we put guns on our boat.
What is missing from it, however, the big thing you did not see, at least when you saw him, unless he picks them up downstream, is horses. Meaning he does not have an easy way to pull his boat back upstream. So either his men are going to have to, there's a couple ways to get it back.
Yep.
One is hard rowing. One that is similar to hard rowing is there's a method that uses poles where basically people walk, they plant a pole,
Right.
walk it down the ship,
Yeah.
and then they keep caterpillaring
Yep.
that. Or he could buy horses down there, or he could also pay somebody to tie his boat to the back of a powered boat, like a steamship, and that would tow him back up. So there's a couple options he's got. But as you last saw him, he was not in a good position to make a quick run back up the river.
Right. So what is the likelihood of us catching him with that far of a head start?
Okay, with that far of a head start, you are probably going to have to do some things that are hard work and possibly dangerous. Namely, you are going to have to get the oars out, and you may have to travel through the night.
Okay.
So if you do, we will actually have our first round of the card game where the group as a whole, not just any individual, will be put to the test.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'm once I've got that sorted in my mind, I'm going to go up on deck. I'm going to get in front of the sail, and I just want to assess the weather and the river. I just want to get an idea of conditions.
Give me another riverboat captain check. You're saving if it's a crap roll you're not going to need. This is your wheelhouse.
Right.
So you got it at a 12.
Okay.
Or what's your smart set? 5. Okay, so you got it at the 12. Even an average success, given that this is your background. Conditions right now are very favorable to downstream travel.
Okay.
Like, you almost couldn't ask for a better day. There's a good wind that just happens to have sort of a southerly, southwesterly push to it.
Okay.
There's a decent current going with it. It's, like I said, you almost could not ask for better downstream conditions.
Okay. Which means he's sailing under the same conditions.
Correct.
Right. So, okay. Once I've taken a look around, I just want to look over the ship and see and try to figure out. I just want to see where the rest of the sort of principal actors are, where the core crew is, meaning Philip, Motomar, and Lee.
Do you guys tell me? I have no idea.
So
It's not that big a boat.
we woke you up in the cabin, so I
Okay.
think I'd still be in the
Okay.
cabin waiting for you to come
All right,
back.
I'm going to go back down then into the cabin, and if Motomar's up on deck, I'm going to ask him to come downstairs.
I'm down in the bilge.
Awesome. I'll go down to the bilge and stomp on the deck. Motomar, my cabin.
Okay. My clothes are piled up next to the.
You don't really have a cabin. There's
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
there is that inner room, but that's
Yeah. All right. So come to the main
cabin.
Yeah, the cabin. Yeah.
It's his boat. It's his cabin.
Right.
I guess that's true. The whole thing's his cabin, his bow, his stern, his deck, his sail.
His bilge?
So once Monomar gets there, the river, it's very good conditions for going downstream. The likelihood of us catching him is very slim, unless we do some dangerous navigation and we do it at night. That's risky. So I don't think it's worth the gamble to sail at night. I don't.
He's going downstream.
He's going to Temper. We're going to
stop.
Temper.
Even if he's done, if he's coming back up, we'll see him.
Mm-hmm.
If he keeps going down, he can only go down so far.
Right.
So they're going to start hanging people in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
they were, when we left, you were unconscious. There was a pretty heated argument going on in the barracks between the laborers and the soldiers. They are going to hang the soldiers that were involved in the shootout at the trial,
Why?
to make an example of them, to make sure that there's no more fighting. But that doesn't stop anyone from fighting. In fact, it'll probably incense people more, because those soldiers in both houses, they're wounded. I mean, we're in the infirmary, and they were going to drag them out of their sick beds and put them on a gallows. And so that means that there's fighting inside of the houses, and I'm sure in the other house that the same situation is going on over there. I spoke with some of the guards, with some of the color guards, and there's people spoiling for a fight. If Duchess dies, fight's going to happen. And if she lives, it might happen anyway.
Well, last night or this morning, it's all a blur. When we found the doctor, she was talking to the Duchess's doctor. What's his name?
Abrams.
Abrams. Thank you. She was talking to Dr. Abrams. Perhaps she knows the Duchess's condition. I mean, what's the likelihood of her surviving her injuries? But
if we do nothing, if we continue on about our lives, sailing down the river, selling stuff, not doing crazy adventures in the middle of the night, not jumping on other people's boats, that's fine. I don't want you to think that's not fine. But the reason we do it, if we do it, is to try to prove that St. Louis is being manipulated from the outside to cause a war. They're going to keep doing it. And we have an opportunity to expose them.
Right.
So
we're still going after Weiss. We're still going to try to take the Paisaw. I was simply suggesting that we may want to try to catch up with them after they've made their delivery to Temper.
well, what if he's in on it? Not Temper, but the fat guy.
Oh, Weiss, he's.
Yeah.
I mean,
And what if he figures out we're following him and drops some poison in Temper's ear? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe he won't. But
What if we push the boat and end up sinking ourselves and do nobody any good?
what happens if we go to Cliff Cave and get shot?
Zing.
It's a dangerous life.
It is.
so. Am I confident that if we push through the night, we can catch him?
You feel yes, unless something goes hideously wrong. Yes. If we assume that all things are equal,
Are you looking for advice?
Yes.
Okay. My advice is the same advice back in Cliff Cave. We're either going down path A or path B. Path A, we're going to try and stop a civil war against all possible odds and everything going against us, and it could kill us. Path B is we are humble river traders and we wash our hands of this. If we go down path A, we have to push as hard as we can and take the biggest risks we can to get this done as quickly as possible so the least amount of people die.
Philip?
He's right.
Right.
We are the only ones that are in a position to do anything about this. course, means if something happens to us, nothing gets done about it. But if you think we can actually catch him,
We can. Motomar, what do you think?
Well, Pops always used to say, if you sail at night, you never see who's fucking you.
He did say that all the time.
But he also said that that's not necessarily a bad thing.
He said that in church.
All right, look. The Piasaw is a larger boat. It's got a larger hold. It's would be more difficult to sink than this boat. And they've likely got they've likely have a pair of swivel guns. So taking them at night by surprise, at least attempting to board their ship, it's going to be better if we do it at night.
Does anyone not know what a swivel gun is? Just so there's no confusion later.
I think you describe it for the audience anyway.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, if as a kid you ever played on a playground that had like a fake pirate ship or something like that, probably one of the things on it was a cannon that was maybe about 2 or 3 feet long,
Right.
and was mounted to like the top of a railing,
Right.
and you could take it by a back handle and you could kind of like swing it around. That's what a swivel gun is. It's like I said, it's about a couple feet long. The bore on it is usually not all that big. And what it was used for is during boarding actions or simply attempting to eliminate people on a ship. While it could be loaded with solid shot, it was typically packed with a like grape shot or some kind of like, small ball bearings packed with powder and then discharged to intentionally be like this big sweeping shotgun effect to attempt to either stop boarders or to make another ship easier to board.
Right.
Now, once again, it could be loaded with solid shot, but that's usually what the main cannons were used for. Yeah. This ship had no main cannons, fortunately, but those swivel guns mean that if you come alongside that ship, or, God forbid, come into a position where both of them can aim at you, that's going to be some seriously brutal crap if they're discharged.
And they were on port and starboard, right?
Correct. They're on left and right of the ship.
But they probably have they're probably pegged with a swivel so they can move it, right? So if they needed to put both on one side, they could do that. I
Or
assume.
even just turn it.
Right.
So.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that they would.
No, I do understand. Yeah,
Gotcha. That have holes in the gunwales, and you're right.
Yes, they could be relocated, but just as bad, they could be even just turned without moving them.
Right.
If they need. So you would have that to contend with.
Wouldn't they be shooting across their own deck, though? If they swiveled it all the way around?
Yes, you're correct. But I mean, like if you came from the front or back,
Right.
they could point it at you
Right.
without risking their own ship.
All right. So that's the bad news. What was my assessment of their crew? I mean, obviously he had enough people.
Hired hands, you don't know. They looked in good health. They looked in good spirits. You don't know how well paid, how loyal, or loyal to whom.
Okay.
So, like I said, they looked skilled. They didn't look motley.
Right.
They looked skilled. They looked in good spirits. But you don't know if push really came to shove, would they stand by him or not?
Okay. So, let's say, just for the sake of argument, we can overtake the ship. We can catch him, and it's possible. Then we actually have to take the ship, and that's going to be the real work, because those swivel guns, I mean, they could potentially be just devastating to us.
has anyone on board ever boarded another ship?
I have.
What about any of the rest of the crew?
Some of them.
How hard is it? Even taking the guns out of... The guns are going to be a huge problem. Taking them out of the equation, how hard is it?
Well, they're going to sit higher in the water than us, I presume, right?
Lower.
Lower than us? Okay. All right. So They sit lower than we do in the water, which means if we can get alongside them, if we can actually lash their ship to our ship with hooks, ropes, it would be pretty easy to, well, step down from our deck to theirs. But it's getting alongside them and lashing the two boats together that's going to be challenging, because that's when we're going to get hit by those rail guns or by those swivel guns. Yeah.
That'd be a whole new level of problem. It just splits your boat straight down the middle.
Yeah.
What is our intention in boarding?
Well, in tradition, traditionally, one side would very clearly have the upper hand, and the other side would surrender, and then, well, be at the mercy and conditions of the victor. I would be hoping to do the same thing.
I mean, we board. Do we board shooting? Do we board? Do we attack?
I think we board the ship. We show strength. We don't kill anybody if we don't have to. We demand Weiss, and we let him take the boat. That's all we want, as your captain, who you very likely have no loyalty to, or very little.
I have a different idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why fire a shot? Why not invite him to dinner? What's in our hold?
Well, Philip, what's in the hold?
Wine.
What do sailors like to drink?
We have rot gut wine. I'll add to that.
Yeah, you have very high alcohol wine.
Why don't we catch up to him, pull up his side, invite him over to dinner? Modbar and myself can cross over to their side with a couple of cases of wine and get the crew drunk. Then we could possibly scuttle the ship, abscond with our newfound friend, or do any number of things. Keep it loose, you know. You never know what's going to happen.
Pops used to tell me that a long time ago, pirates on the river, they'd sneak onto your boat at night, and they'd bore holes into the hull, just small ones. You'd start taking on water, and they would guess about how long you'd be able to stay afloat, and then they would just wait for you to start to sink until you basically had to sand your own. You basically had to beach your own vessel, and then they'd come out of the woods and get you.
Need I remind you, Pops also said, I wish that damn pillow would shut up so I could sleep.
In church, no less.
All right.
But yeah, why not go with planned dinner? We get, at least if it doesn't work out, we get a dinner out of it. And nobody gets shot. Well, at first anyway.
Do you think he has any idea what happened in St. Louis? If he sees us,
Does
and
he
he
have a
knows?
wireless radio?
Oh, that's yours, isn't it?
Yes.
how much of the plan was he in on?
Well, I tell you what. We're not going to sneak up on him in a boat.
I
So,
disagree.
if they start shooting, then we know.
True.
At night, on this river, with his experience as a captain, I bet you we can. Now, with that said, I'd be willing to bet that somebody on his crew is really running that boat.
Maybe.
I mean, he's the captain, but in name only.
We're talking about going through the night, knowing how dangerous it is. Does he have any reason to do that?
Goodness, no.
So, he may not be on the river. They might go ashore for the night.
Well,
I think they'd sleep. I mean, they'd most likely sleep on the boat.
Right.
I mean, they'd.
What I'm saying is the boat may not be on the river. It's like, if we're talking about how hard it is to sneak up on someone, take that into account.
I think we should go through the night to catch up, and then I think that we should yell on over and see if they want to lash the boats together and have some dinner.
We need to keep our eyes open, though, that may not be on the river.
Sure, we could pass them up, lose them, but then we get to Temple first. And then we could have, quote, dinner with him there.
All right. So we have a plan. All right. So then I'm going to go above deck, and I'm going to basically start barking orders and explaining to the crew in order barky fashion that we are going to press. We're gonna press the vine as hard as we can, and our intention is to overtake the Piasaw and to invite their captain to dinner.
Okay.
All right,
Hold
and-
on to your cutlasses, boys.
Yeah, and then of course explain to them in order barky fashion that it is possible, nay likely, that they will deny our invitation to dinner, and they may do so with gunfire.
All right, so for the first time, I was actually expecting this to come up more often, which it may in the future of the campaign. But one of the real linchpins of the way Skies of Glass has always been conducted is it's as much about some kind of organization, whether that's a boat crew or a small mercenary group or whatever, as it is about an individual. And so, as a result, that group has its own template, which we've been sitting on and doing nothing with. And like I said, I expected this to come up sooner, but now we're actually going to use it. All right, so here's the way this works. The first thing we're going to do is we have expressed that the group as a whole and its resources. So this boat and everyone and everything on it is being put under a stress. Now, if you guys were a town, this could be the town getting attacked. This could be a rough winter. This could be, any number of things. But in this case, it's the fact that you guys are attempting to push it down the river. So the first thing I need is one of you to draw a card from my deck. So who wants to do it?
I'll do it.
All right, so Chad, draw a card from my deck. Okay, what is it? Okay, actually, so this is pretty good. You guys are not going to be that heavily stressed. All right, so Chad drew the 4 of diamonds. Okay.
You're welcome.
So what that means is right off the block, all right, the 4 represents the severity of what will occur. All right, so it turns out that your guys' attempt to push through the night is, relatively speaking, not all that dangerous. Because we're drawing from a standard poker deck here, so obviously you could have drawn anything from an ace through a king or a joker. And face cards in particular represent particularly brutal things. But a 4 is not all that big of a deal. Now, the fact that it's a 4 of diamonds represents what is threatening, which makes sense because what's being threatened here is the group's resources, okay? So something is happening that is going to threaten the resources of the group, which makes sense. Like I said, this is going to be the ores you have, the poles you use, the rations to keep people motivated or awake, the possibility of if you screw something up, you have to throw things overboard to lose weight. So it makes a good amount of sense. Okay. So now, you guys, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to roll 2d6 and add it to my 4. And you guys are going to roll 2d6 and add it to your 7. If I win, then I get to screw with your resources by the margin by which I won. If you guys win, then you guys manage to basically run it out and nothing happens. Okay. You do have another option, which in this case would probably all but, if not, actually guarantee your success, which is you may put in a second resource. All right. So let me explain that. So 4 diamonds, so this is your wealth that's being attacked against the 7 of diamonds, which is the wealth you possess. So you have a 3-point advantage on 2d6. Now, let's say, for example, you said, you know what, we have a 9 of hearts. Hearts representing the overall attitude and loyalty of the group.
Which our description on that is courageous and confident crew.
Yes, right now they are highly motivated. So what you can say is, you know what, we are going to tap the courage of our crew and the spirits of our crew to assist in protecting its wealth. So you play the 9 on top of the 7, giving you a total of 16. So 16 plus even your worst roll of 2 is an 18. 4 plus my best roll of 12 is going to be a 16. You automatically are going to win this. But that 9, because of the fact that you have pushed them above and beyond, automatically loses a point. All right. Now, similarly, you could take a different card. So you could say, you know what, instead we're going to use the 5 of clubs. Clubs representing the individuals of your organization. And we're going to ask them to risk themselves. Or you could say, you know, we're going to attempt to, we may end up with a man overboard, but we're going to try some kind of crazy things. And in the process, that could get down to a 4, and someone got either lost or injured in the process. And if you choose to apply a secondary resource, even if you win, that secondary resource takes a 1-point hit. Do you guys follow generally how this game works?
Yep.
Okay. So you guys must now decide. You guys can discuss. Joe, being the head of the group, is the tiebreaker. Do you want to add a second resource that will automatically take 1 point of damage, or risk it on the 4 versus 7 roll?
It's up to you, man.
9 down to 8 is still really good, but I don't know. The Pat in me wants to save all of our resources and say, let's just risk it.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. I could have, if you had drawn a face card, things would be substantially worse. This is a pretty tutorial level roll.
I don't think we should risk it. 3 points is good enough, and even if we fail, it's not, the circumstances aren't that dire.
Well, I mean, I think narratively and thematically, utilizing, because we're stressing the crew, makes a lot of sense. You know, dropping the 9, the 9 to an 8, and then guaranteeing the victory. But the thing that I don't know as the player is ultimately, so that's overcoming the river at night, but that's not the challenge of actually overtaking the Piasaw, right? So
If that comes to a shootout, that will also, because of the fact there may be individual combats,
but it'll be crew v crew.
but there's also going to be an organization versus organization that could theoretically be a whole lot worse than this. So it's your guys' call what you want to do, but there's a situation.
I don't know. I'm in favor of utilizing the resource and stressing the crew and dropping that 9 to an 8.
Okay. He says stress the crew. Chad, stress the crew, don't.
I'd go with Brodo.
Okay, so 2 stress the crews.
Don't stress the crew.
Don't stress the crew.
I'll back his call. We'll stress him.
Okay, so
Take that mode bar.
all right, so
You want me to call you up?
we don't even need to roll. We don't even need to roll that, because you guys will automatically win this roll. Because the best roll I can make would be 12. 12 plus a 4. Actually, there's a chance of a crit. I take that back. There is a very slim chance you guys could lose this. It's not real likely, but there is a slim chance. So, all right. So let's go ahead then. Let's make that roll. As long as you guys don't crit fail and I don't crit succeed, then you're going to automatically win this.
Just the moment he said that.
But that will happen. That will happen either way. All right. Brodor got an 8. I got a 6. So 6 plus 4 is 10. 8 plus 16 is, what, 24? Okay, so this goes down to an 8. So you have worn your crew out.
Alejandro fell overboard and is gone now.
Whoa!
Congratulations.
Whoa!
No,
Whoa!
That's clubs. If you guys had totally dorked up clubs, that could have happened.
Well, I mean, we're down 1, so.
No. This is down
I know.
spirit. So the crew's worn out. You've stressed them out. They're
Sad about
definitely.
Alejandro.
I said, you're definitely going to need a little bit of a holiday for them. But I mean, don't get me wrong. An 8's still freaking great.
Right.
I mean, an 8, obviously, on a scale of 1 to 10, is still wonderful. So they're still very good. So, all right.
They're tired, but they're like, we're awesome. We did that.
So you guys,
And Lee is like, good job, all that work you guys did. As I stay out of the way.
I'm staying out of the way, too.
all right. And also, your resources will also come in again once you guys reach temper and get your payday. The resources will come up again then once we actually cash out the status of your organization. and you will get coins that represent progress, and you can then tell me, like, this is what we're using it for. So, are you going to...
Wars.
That's... If you want a horrors, I mean,
We are sailors.
But if you guys say something like, well, we want to put it back into Herman, we want...
What?
or
Wars into Herman.
Okay, if you guys want to whore up Herman, if you want to start putting armor plates on your boat, get your own swivel guns, that will come when we actually cash out
We're
the...
gonna get our own swivel guns.
Mobile horror.
Oh my God!
Swivel horse.
Wars. Armored wars.
Armored swivel horse.
We're gonna be like
Pour me out some Kentucky Fried Chicken popcorn.
we're gonna be like Gaddafi, right? We're just gonna have these hot
ineffectual
women. Well, we're
hot
gonna have
women
these
on
hot
our guard.
women who are all our guards and crew.
Yeah,
We're going to need to rename the boat to the Golden Cat.
That's right.
Right.
the Golden Bunny.
And then we're going to start a restaurant called the Golden Cock.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So you guys keep things going through the night. You keep the boat on the water rather than camping that night. You guys probably all crash out because of the fact that none of you have had
Philip and I aren't working.
none of you have had a full night's sleep now in a while.
I love the fact that the two guys who
Except Joe.
voted tax the crew aren't taxing themselves.
Yeah. Well, we're management. Hello.
Hey, we're doing the best thing we can for the boat, not touching anything on it.
Right.
But yeah, throughout the night, I mean, it's not like the boat's going super fast. It's just you're using lantern light to see where you're going, or they're going off of memory based on landmarks they see. But you guys keep the sail open. You guys keep the oars going, and you guys push. And by the following morning, you guys are your crew's tired. They skipped a night's sleep. You guys, I mean, if any of you skip the night's sleep, I'll allow it. But I'm gonna start giving you penalties because it'll be the second night in a row you guys skipped.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I'm sleeping.
I'm sleeping.
Okay. So,
I get up early, actually. At least an early riser. So.
all right. So by the following morning,
Good job, man.
the crew gives you an estimate of where you are. Actually, they would
I
know.
start yelling at the crew, "Where's my coffee?"
That goes over great.
Yeah.
And then you go over great.
Yeah, that was one of the interesting things about reading Wicked River. And like I said, I'm only about halfway through it. But, they just assumed if you fell into the river, you were dead.
Yeah.
Right? And, I mean, they would make a cursory effort to save you if you were right there and they could get a pole into the water at you or something.
Didn't make it.
But pretty quickly, they just accepted that you drowned.
Yeah, because even if you're a good swimmer, I mean,
Right.
swimming in the Mississippi River, that's not really advisable.
Right.
Oh, there's a lot of undercurrents, and
Especially back then. I mean, the river is calmer now.
I know, and it's still bad. I mean, it still happens where construction workers fall off, like doing bridge work, and surface 20 miles downstream. I mean, it still happens to this day, where, yeah, their ability to find bodies, it's oftentimes they show up and
Did
nowhere
you get to the
near.
maritime disaster part? Have you gotten to the Civil War yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, everything I've read so far is pre-Civil.
So let me do some head math here. So you guys started off doing this around noonish. Did it obviously to midnight, that's 12 hours. And then let's say did it on into morning, so that's not 6, so it's 18 hours. So 18 hours at about 3 miles an hour is what, that's 54 miles?
You're looking at me like I can answer this.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35.
Wow. Wicked River is on Audible, so I will pick up the audiobook version of it.
Nice. I love that book. It's so good.
I had no intention of reading it, but if I can get it in audiobook form,
It's good. Hopefully the person just doesn't do a dry reading because, I mean, it's a history book, but it's an exciting read, I felt.
Measuring this out,
I tried to listen
just
to
how
the
far he
audiobook of
got.
Neuromancer. It put you to sleep. The guy's got such a dry, deep monotone. It's like,
I love Neuromancer, too. It's actually my top 5 favorite books.
20.
I read that's actually a series of books. I read the whole series.
35.
overdrive. You're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
35.
And that ending, the ending of it all, it's like,
40.
shit.
Wow. Okay.
Because really there are, and then that's why, and then I'm like, oh,
by the following morning, you guys have made over half the journey already to where you think Temper's militia is. And the crew tells you you are just north of Bloomsdale. So, for anyone who's not familiar with that part of town, you're about 15 miles, about 15 miles south of Festus. For anyone who doesn't know the area at all, Google Maps, Bloomsdale, Missouri. They're just north of that. All right, so that's where you guys are, and
About 55 miles total, I think, from St. Louis. So if I remember, because Arnold is 20 either way, and then 20 to Festus plus 15 there.
yeah, you're following the river, so some curves and such. I rounded down a bit on the numbers because you're following some curves and whatnot, but you have just great conditions. So,
And on the other hand, we're not picking over terrain too, or getting shot at, or
yes, that innocent, persistent travel.
we can eat and sleep and still move.
Yes, that is also true. So, you guys, by the time that you wake up, like I said, the crew is very tired. They're still quite loyal to you. They're beat to hell at the moment.
Right.
So when you guys get up, Aleander and the crew, Aleander.
I want to stay up for the night with them for two reasons. One, I'm their captain, and two, I actually got a reasonable amount of sleep because of the whatever pharmaceutical cocktail Dr. Marshall gave me.
I'll grant you that. So, okay, I might give you penalties on your rolls,
Sure.
but not as substantial as I would with the rest of them. All right, so you stay up through the night without them, or with them rather, without sleep. And by the following morning, you can tell they're tired. They desperately need some sleep. Whatever it is you end up doing, because you still have a good another.
What was Motomar doing through this?
Oh, I slept because I'm not much of a sailor.
Yeah.
Or is that, or spanking it, or doing something.
Well, I do that first, then.
Oh, yeah,
and then
that's
I
how
go
he
sleep.
relaxes. Yeah.
So,
What was Emily doing? For all this?
she slept. There's nothing she can do. She's not a sailor. 5, 10, 15.
I tell the doctor my feelings hurt and I need a shot.
She takes out a gun.
Worked for Joe.
Doctor, I've got these feelings.
I don't want them.
Okay,
Don't
so
work
assuming, assuming you guys actually do rest on and start sailing on more normal shifts, you have about a day and a half left to get to Temper's Militia.
Okay.
So you have a day and a half of sailing. Now, if you push yourself through the night, this is going to get more rugged, but you could theoretically do it by sunrise tomorrow. But once again, things can get real rough if you do that. So, all right, let's handle the immediate. You guys, by the following morning, Alejandro passes. Well, actually, you, Joe, have a scope, right?
I do.
So he points downstream. He has his own spyglass, and he points downstream and is like, "Take a look."
I will. We'll take a spot.
You can see the Piasaw is moored to the shoreline, a couple miles down, and it appears to be preparing to set out for the day.
Oh, okay.
But given the fact that your ship's faster, even if it's just by a little bit, you're going to catch them.
Okay.
Is there any kind of semaphore signaling?
Yeah. You guys have semaphore.
Why don't we?
Okay,
signal?
another definition. For anyone who doesn't know what semaphore is a series of flags that are hung from a ship, each representing a letter that are used to spell out messages.
Or you can hold them up and
Yes, there's also a series of hand gestures that can be used with two flags to spell out an alphabet.
Yeah.
So there are ways of sending messages from ship to ship. And so semaphore is still in use. But yeah, semaphore can either be done with multiple flags hung to spell out a message, or with two flags, sort of like an aircraft, like down the runway kind of thing, except instead of telling you, go this way, slow down, speed up, it actually does spell out messages. So you guys do have the necessary equipment to do semaphore. So if you want to send them a message, barring a really big stroke of luck, they will see you. Because, it's an open river.
if we can see them, they can probably see us.
Right.
So
See, have they noticed? If they see you, they're not reacting to you.
So, I mean, which plan are we going to go with? Are we going to go with dinner and a date, or are we going with number one with a bullet?
2 fish in the water. Oh, I forgot to mention that you guys have forward and backward torpedo tubes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why you have me.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Well, so we'll signal the Piasaw, and basically, whatever rudimentary hailing we would do, to basically, to hail them and try to get them to slow up.
Okay. Once you start the semaphore, at first they are completely unresponsive, and then you notice one of them looks backwards and actually, for the first time, sees you and watches long enough to get the message. What precisely are you telling them? Like, what's the
We're
exact?
coming to
Lash.
get you.
We're going to tell them lash,
Okay.
and then whatever would be used to indicate a question,
Okay.
like saying, we would like to lash and go down river with you.
Typically, you would shoot just to the left of somebody's head.
Okay.
To the right is an exclamation point. To the left is a question mark. Actually, hitting the head is a period.
That's right. Full stop.
Yes, full stop. So, all right. So you signal that to them, and you can see the individual who is watching you. He turns and says some things to the people on his own ship, and then he turns back to you, and he just waves you forward, and they stop. They stop making attempts to untie from the shore.
All right. Well, then we'll pull up next to him and get as close as get within speaking distance.
Okay.
Go within earshot.
You guys pull up next to them, and Cyrus, he is out on deck upon seeing you, has this just very broad grin on his face. It appears to be a genuine grin, like not like some kind of maniacal grin. He has a very big, genuine smile, and as you get closer, he yells out to you, "Hail there, ahoy!"
Ahoy, hoy!
And oh, come on, boys, let's get their ship tied up and alongside ours. They're just in time for breakfast. We were cooking up some eggs and ham.
Well, that sounds delicious.
Why don't you cross on over? Come on down to the land here. We're all ashore.
Well, that sounds good. Damn. Too bad it's breakfast. Well, they are sailors.
Yeah.
Obviously, we shouldn't come empty-handed. Isn't that right, Captain?
Agreed.
So, Bodvar, why don't you grab a couple of the boxes downstairs? As we pull up and whatnot, I start clamoring. Do we? Are we like? What are we doing? Are we lashing to the side of it? Or are we pulling up onto the shore?
Yeah, question for that's
So
Joe. What are you guiding?
I want the men to lash to the ship. Yes.
Okay, so it's your ship to their ship to ground.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to lash the vine to the Piasaw.
Okay.
As I cross over to the Piasaw, and they're on the shore, right?
Yes. Well, some of them are on the Piasaw. Some of them are still on the shore eating breakfast.
Well, that's kind of what I want to get a read of what they're doing. How many people are on the Piasaw? How many people are on the
Give me a
shore?
perception check.
Two dice?
Yeah, 2 dice plus perception.
14.
Okay. That you can see,
What's their general state?
there are currently 3 plus Cyrus on the Piasaw. The 3 that are on the Piasaw, one is going in and out of their own cabin, appears to just be doing general prep work. 2 are checking the ropes and discussing course for the day and things like that, so they're attending to boat business. Cyrus is obviously talking to you. There are 5 more that are on land that are gathered around a campfire and an iron skillet where he's doing exactly what they said. They're just frying up eggs and thin slices of ham. I won't
delicious.
dignify it by calling it Canadian bacon. It's not bacon.
I go down to the campfire.
Okay.
And
So
I
you
greet, what's his name?
Cyrus.
Cyrus.
I knew we would encounter each other out here.
I can't imagine not encountering someone.
This is the life you guys have lived for all these years. I sat there for decades. I sat there and I wrote records of this. It's like being the person whose job it is to just write down the morning after.
Well, it is an amazing life.
And this is what I was missing all these years. Such fresh air. Such freedom. So much to see.
Joe, you look like you need some bacon.
Yeah. I could use some bacon.
I swear, just between you and me, I swear I saw a river serpent the other night.
Really?
Yes, just last night. Swear.
Amazing. Amazing what you can see out here. Have you seen elk?
No.
Don't just look at the water. Keep an eye on the shoreline. You'll see deer, elk.
Maybe your men will take you on a snipe hunt.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, a snipe hunt. Yeah, I read those books. Oh, I read a lot of books.
What's your favorite book?
Many books. Honestly, none. I don't begrudge being a learned man, but after having spent my whole life nose deep in a book, but never actually gotten out to live anything, at some point you just start to resent them. It's like looking at pictures of things you've never seen and never will see.
Lee hates this man right now. Didn't care about him before, but now he's like, you son of a bitch.
Mortimer sets down the boxes of grog, looks at him and says, "Spit book."
Let's not discuss that. This is a pleasant event.
Well, open up some wine. Pass it around. We're sharing here.
He didn't mean it like being mean. That's what he thought the guy's name was.
Spit book. Well, it doesn't matter what Motibar thought he meant.
So starts handing out bottles.
So, since we got time, I'd like to hear the story of how you got the boat.
Oh, no socialization whatsoever. Oh,
That is socialization. It's a story.
fine. How I got the boat. You know what? Have you ever left a life behind?
Yeah.
Just packed up one day? And, I mean, is that how you got your start?
I mean, I go home, but yeah, I left the farm behind.
I mean, was it your home?
Yeah.
Like, you owned it?
No.
So, okay, so it was,
Home.
all right, so it wasn't your home, but you had a place there. What are you, family?
Yeah. Big family.
See, let me give you something to kind of contemplate. Imagine if the way you'd gotten into this life was if you said you had family, what, parents, sisters, brothers,
Yes. Cousins, whole deal.
cousins, okay, so you've just got a whole rabbit warren of Carstairs out there. And imagine if one day they just sold it all and just took that big stack of money and struck out on an adventure. Sorry, I thought that was leg of the chair. I didn't realize I was groping your leg.
But now they realize it.
Quite all right.
But now that I realize, I'm just going to move inward and thyward. But
Is that like port or starboard?
It's a finger in my pee hole.
I left my life behind. I had a house in St. Louis, sold it quickly, was even able to sell off all the accoutrements of my old life, the pens, the inkwells, the writing desks, some of the books that weren't complete yet, that much as I offered them to Duchess as an offer of good grace, she seemed disinterested in them.
All in a day or two?
Hey, when someone comes along looking to buy and you don't want it anymore, what's it worth to you? You take a shit in the woods and someone offers you a stack of coins for it. I mean, sure, you'd wonder why, but you'd be an idiot not to take it.
That's true.
So then you use that money to buy the pie saw?
Well, yeah. I don't know, like somebody gave it to me. Where else would I get that kind of money? You think they pay clerks that? No, I'm sure that highfalutin twat at the top had that kind of money, but I didn't.
Did you ever meet a man named James Weldon?
James Weldon. Let's see if yeah, he was a merchant, like, I guess not like you guys, land. He kept to the land, but yeah, I signed him in and out a few times.
What would you say the last time you saw him was? We saw him on our way to St. Louis.
Oh, I don't know why I was stopped in Defiance. He didn't pass directly through there. He actually passed on the south bank of the river, but he did send a missive across on a boat just to check in and declare some things. That was... I didn't see him. I mean, did you count that as seeing? How is old Jimmy doing?
Well, he was good when I last saw him. It was weeks ago at this point. We're old friends.
And I start circulating amongst the crew.
Okay.
I take out my bundle of mail. I start asking around if they, is this person here? Is this person here? And then I ask if anybody else
One
has
in a
any mail.
million. No.
No.
There's-
And I ask, I don't expect them, but does anybody have any mail, any letters they want written? And what I'm
Nobody-
doing is trying to get a feel for the crew. Like, I start chatting with them. Like, what do you think about this guy? Or, hey,
Nobody has mail, but there is a guy that wants you to write a letter for him.
Okay.
So he gives you a silver to make it two, one for the scribe, one for the post,
Okay.
and he wants you to write a letter for him.
Certainly.
And it's this... It's kind of long and meandering, and there's a lot of no, wait, scratch that, and start over, and let's do this, and how would you say this? There's several points he's actually asking for your advice.
Yeah.
He's trying to write to an ex-wife who apparently left him because of the fact that he wasn't really able to provide, but according to the story he's telling you for this letter, he's now been able to save up a good amount of money from sailing, and can provide a better life for them, and blah, 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 and wants her to come back, and he misses his sons, and it's somewhere between, I don't know, it depends on your character's disposition. Right. It's either heart-wrenching or pointless drama.
Drama.
Yeah. It's either grab the popcorn or TLDR,
right?
Whichever you want it to be.
I am on the edge of charging him another silver for all the edits and wasted ink, but I don't. Because I'm a nice guy. But no, I pin his letter. I ask him whereabouts should I... I mean, obviously, I'm not postaling the stuff. I only go up and down the river. About what town is she in?
She is in Cape.
Cape? Okay. Yeah, we should maybe get down to Cape eventually. But what's the disposition of the crew? I mean,
the crew seems complacent. Give me a...
Social?
Yeah, 2d6 plus social. I don't think you have any particular skill for reading groups of people.
13.
13. Okay, that's still an average success. The disposition of the crew, at least at surface, is content. You don't sense anything among them like they're not doing cheers and putting their hands in a circle and, right, psyching themselves up. But they seem contented. Yeah. It's honest work. There doesn't seem to be any distress among them. They look well fed. They look in good health. You've not heard them. I mean, going by this guy's letter about his financial status, apparently he's getting paid. So nothing seems overly off the wall.
I also circulate up into the boat as well, talking to the crew and such, and making sure that they're getting some of their morning wine in. And I go... do they let me go into the boat under the pretense of looking for people and see if there's mail and circulating around. And that sort
If you go into the cabin, they do keep an eye on you because it's a little unusual, but they don't stop you.
Do I see the book, the copies of the papers of his book?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, they are sitting in one of the hammocks with a few like other pieces, like scraps of paper stuck in sideways like bookmarks.
Okay. I go while this is all going on. I go to the edge of the boat and sit on the rail, and I take out one of my notebooks and I start writing in it really quickly. Basically, what I remember from his book, only incorrect.
Okay.
So, Cyrus, you sold all your stuff. Were any of the books you used to use for work? You said some of them weren't done.
I sold the whole damn thing. I mean, I sold it all. I just, whatever was in the house, it all was a reminder of a life I wanted to leave behind. Even bought new clothes. Went back through my old clothes in the house.
But how did you learn to captain a boat?
Look, I don't captain the boat. I mean, come on, that'd be insane. I spent most of my life with my feet planted squarely on terra firma.
Terra who?
That's solid land. But I don't captain the boat if you mean steer it here, drop the this, raise the that, hard on the so-and-so. I don't do any of that. I just pay the men to do it.
Joe, I think maybe we should tell him what happened in St. Louis.
I agree with you completely.
I think he might be in danger.
Why would I be in danger? I'm done. I got kicked out. I left.
I look at him. Your name was mentioned in court.
Why? Why would my name be in?
Your
This
book.
is a hazing. Okay, guys. Ha ha ha. Are we all sea pirates now? Do I get a sword if I play along with this? I was mentioned in court. Okay. What was I mentioned in court over?
For Joe.
Do I have to drink a cup of bilge water while you tell me this?
No, I wish Lee were here. He would be able to explain it better than I will. But
He's right there.
oh,
See
Lee,
him. Yep.
Lee, look, wait, come here.
He looks down at his notebook. He looks at you. Looks down at his notebook. What? He begins scribbling furiously.
Do I notice?
Because
15. I think he's busy. I kind of look back. Sorry.
What?
St. Louis caller.
what do you mean he's busy?
Lee turns around.
Brodor picked up his paper and he showed the
My incompetence of subterfuge.
yes.
Yeah.
And you're exploitable too?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man. I'm taking you out for a cheap date.
Yeah.
He'll catch up on it later.
All right.
Cyrus, Cutler and Holloway went to war. True war.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Over papers with your name and James's on them.
Okay, come on.
I'm not joking. I think somebody used the books they bought from you to have your official name on it, doctored the papers, and delivered it at court.
That wouldn't do them any good without my seal, which
Which they had.
Did you sell your seal?
Well, shit, I sold the house and everything that was in it.
How long ago?
Oh, as soon as I found out I was getting kicked.
Did they approach you?
Oh my goodness. What did they say in court exactly? That they're why what do I have that's worth going to war over? I mean I oversaw
Your testimony?
my testimony of what? I oversaw commerce. I signed in and out. Some asshole showed up with 20 tons of
Paperwork with your name on it, ordering the assassination of Holloway's messenger with your seal.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. Over the years, there were some things I was asked to pass along that were probably better not opened, but I don't recall ordering any assassinations of Holloway messengers.
I don't think you did. I think they took your papers and your stamp and faked it.
So, what was this messenger supposed to be delivering news of? Why is this worth going to war over?
If the messenger would have arrived in Herman, he would have told of the plan for the year of without producing. We never got that message in Herman. The town destabilized because of it.
So the knuckle draggers thought they weren't going to get fed for a year because that would somehow benefit any house to have them all dead from starvation and, or at best, eating shoe leather and unable to work. And they actually believed that.
Yes.
Things go downhill, blame gets passed, and now somehow they put this at my feet? I mean, it wasn't enough to kick me out. Now they have to use me as a fall guy for their own moronic machinations? This is my fault?
I don't think this is your fault. I think they used you just like we've been used.
Can Lee hear this from the?
Oh, he's starting to shout now.
Lee walks down, stops writing, puts the notebook back in his thing, walks down to the to his that hammock, grabs his book, and walks back up. If nobody stops him,
No.
and then he holds it up. Where did you get this?
It was,
Who gave it to you?
hey, it's like, but what are you doing wandering around, Mike? Put that back.
Where did you get it?
I said put that back. That's private.
I will throw this in the river if you do not answer me in 3,
You throw that in the
2,
river, your body will follow.
1. And he goes to throw it. Does he answer?
No, but you do hear somebody moving behind you.
Lee tosses it into the river.
Okay. Okay, are there any immediate, let's call them interrupt actions that could change the situation? Like, we're not even in initiative order. I just want to know, what is everyone doing? Sitting there dumbfounded is fine and will not take you out of the initiative order if one should occur.
Do I see who's moving behind Lee?
You see one of the deck hands appears to just be trying to jump to restrain him.
Okay.
It doesn't have like a gun drawn or something, but appears just to be trying to jump to restrain him.
Okay.
Where is Casey in this? Not that I'm expecting him
You
to be
have
my
not
guardian
seen him.
angel, but
You've not seen him. He is actually still on your ship and is inside the cabin.
Okay.
I think at this point I'm dumbfounded because we were making progress of a sort, and then this just happened. So I think I'm.
You were making progress, but he was holding something back.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so interrupt actions, Joe.
So I turn and I look at Lee, and I yell at Lee, "Damn it! Stealing it once wasn't enough."
Lee.
I throw it.
Okay, Monomar.
All right, so Cyrus threatens Lee.
Yes.
I punch him right in the face.
You are going. Okay, so you are moving to attack him, Philip.
I am caught completely off guard by all of this, and I'm just kind of, is that a copy of my? And then it goes sailing.
Okay, so let's get an initiative going because I don't know how this is going to. Because honestly, how this resolves depends on who goes first. So Joe,
What is initiative? Is that
Lee.
agility?
That's 2d6 plus speed.
Motamar, Phil.
So it's any other poopy. 11.
14.
So Joe got an 11, Lee got a 10, Phil got a 14, Motamar
15.
15. Okay, then on their side, I will put
Murder more is going to go first.
I will put all 8 of them on just one initiative thing, just keep it simple. And then I will put the only one I'll put separately is Cyrus.
And that initiative is like 17.
All right, Cyrus is also an 11.
I know, right? Who would do this?
Man, everybody's an 11.
What?
Joe, what is your actual speed
My God,
attribute?
I'm sitting here the whole time going, Jesus Christ, we're the bad guys. Like the whole time. I'm just incensed that we're the bad guys. Oh my God, I'm sorry. My speed's a 6.
We at least didn't just board shooting.
Hey, you were the ones who wanted to do the murder in the dark.
No, you're right, because my blood was up. But I listened to you because your wisdom is strong. But then your wisdom isn't strong at the same time.
He's lying. You are getting somewhere. He is lying to you in some way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He
I
is-
realized that as I'm
and-
talking to him.
And Lee was listening to it, and he was just like, fuck it.
Yep. He probably didn't realize that I realized that was being held back. Negotiations are always about some
Right.
level of lying.
Yeah.
Okay, Phil, what is your actual speed?
4.
This is a 4.
Oh,
okay.
sorry. Speed is 4.
You know,
4.
if you're lucky, I mean, Lee is really.
If I'm lucky, Cyrus will let me serve as his first mate.
Well, Lee's agility is 3. He might actually miss the river.
Well, touche.
I missed the river. No, you're not going to miss the river. This is not
But he
some.
really sucks at this.
I know, but this is
Lands
not
on deck.
Symbiote's role play. Oh no! Now I'm a historian.
Hey!
I'm afraid of boats.
Yeah.
Well, in this situation,
Okay. Emily goes first and has no reaction. Motamar, you are up second.
Yep. So he threatens Lee, and I just come right over the top.
Okay.
that's loyalty right there. You can't buy that kind of loyalty.
No,
All right.
it's true. The question is that when we are trying to pit him against one another.
3D Motamar, you can use your scout thingy.
Oh, yes.
So 3d6 plus your agility.
Okay. 17.
That's a hit. It's not going to be a hit plus crit.
You punch him in his Cluewica.
Base of 6. No cover. He's not moved. Light's fine. Nobody's moving.
In fact, it's sort of that golden hour, so the light's really good.
Yeah. So what is your strength?
He's got a glass jaw.
My body?
Yes, your body. What
8.
8?
Nice. My body's 3.
May go places it was never meant to go. So you get 2d6 plus 2, and Chad, you have your location die. All right, 2d6 plus 2 to whatever location you roll.
2d6 plus 2.
Punch him in his taint.
That's an 11 to the left leg.
Ow.
Holy crap! Okay,
Man.
you come up and you try to punch him across the face, but you're coming down in this sort of like haymaker type move, and he's moving to get up, and so his head moves from where you expect it to be, but his big ol' ass ham leg is right there, and you come down on it with all the force you can muster, with which an 8 body is a lot of force.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty damn strong. And you hear not only does his femur crack, but you knock the leg out of socket as well. And
That boy
he,
needs to drink more milk.
no, he hit him that hard. and he crumples over. He's not. His prior action of "I'm standing up" is no longer possible.
That's life on the river, bitch.
Okay, the crew of your boat, which goes next, having not been in on any of this, is scrambling for weapons, with the exception of two of them, which jump to the other boat and are moving to secure the swivel guns.
Right.
Because they were not naive about where this was headed.
Mm-hmm.
Phil.
I think I'm just still kind of stunned at everything going on. The book went over the edge into
Well,
the
maybe.
water.
I mean, I haven't.
Yeah.
No, it went over.
Oh, okay.
It went over
You're
the
not
edge.
going to
Can
miss
I roll
the
my
river.
agility? I want to. I just want to see how bad this
Okay,
could
2d6.
possibly be.
Well, wait, don't you have a penalty? Well,
Is it combat? All right.
I mean, it really isn't combat.
It,
It's
5, 6. I got an 8.
that's still enough. I mean,
That is over and easy.
yeah,
All
it's
right.
it's.
I think I'm looking for cover.
Okay. You are going for some hardcover or soft cover?
Hard.
Hardcover. Okay. That takes us. That was 14 sub 1, 14 sub 2, 14 sub 3 is Casey.
Sunshine Band.
Yes, he and the Sunshine Band. He has a little trouble coming out of the cabin because he has the rig on.
Yeah.
But he spins us around getting out of the cabin with the rig on. Because he also was not stupid about where this was probably going to end. So that takes us to all the 11s, of which there are a lot. Joe, 11 sub 1.
I interpose myself between Weiss and Modamar and, tell Modamar to calm the fuck down.
Can I speak? Or do I?
As long as it's short. If it's a short response.
All right, I say, pull his leg or he bleeds out.
Wait, time out. I don't get it.
With a broken femur, you have to pull. You pull because your femur snaps.
Okay, literally, Joe. Okay, so then
Yeah.
Joe doesn't get it.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mike doesn't get it. Joe doesn't get it. I don't get it.
There's several things that go on. One is you can bleed out. The other is that I don't remember the details of it, but like the part of like the crap the
The colloquy.
You're talking about a fat embolism.
yeah we're basically
Like
part of the
a-
marrow actually like comes loose and causes like a massive embolism or something. I forget what it is, but yeah, you can actually die from a broken leg and die rather quickly.
Sucks to be him.
Yeah, if he doesn't get immediate medical help, it could. Cyrus slumps over and is just screaming at the top of his lungs, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people?
Right.
It's a great question.
Let's focus on the positive. What's right with us?
We're about to find out what's left of you. Let's see how this goes. Joe, this is going to come down to how convincing you are in terms of your presence.
Okay.
So, give me a social check. I'll
Okay.
give you 3d6 because you are playing the role of the river captain. How successful are you in terms of acting like your crew is out of hand versus this was always the intent? So 10 plus...
Well, if I'm doing social, it'd be a 15.
Okay, so 15 versus how pissed off are they? Okay.
No, they're pretty complacent too. They weren't like cutthroats.
They draw weapons, and I'm going to put them on an interrupt action. They have weapons drawn. If somebody else does something that would give them a moment to shoot, they will have the option of doing so.
Nobody has their hand on their guns except them.
They have them drawn. So the doctor goes on 11 sub 4. She is taking cover on your guys' boat because she did not sign on for this. That takes us down to anybody else? No, Lee.
I stand there with a big ass shit-eating grin on my face, hands on hips. I'm waiting for my answer from the screaming man. Bitch could have said, I'll tell you everything, but no, he had to be a drama queen.
Oh, he is the asshole. He's the asshole.
That's right.
He asked you, why did you rob my quarters, put my shit back?
Yep.
Player logic.
Somebody broke his leg, and he's the asshole. This is, I know you're joking.
Does he have nice boots though?
They actually stripe you as green, maybe blue.
Ooh. On my side?
Oh my god.
And there is a rare X-masked weapon that he
Ooh,
drops.
yes.
I mean, it's like a 1 in 50 chance, but according to ThoughtBot, it happens.
You know, if it drops, Modemar can have the boots because he actually did the attack. So.
Yeah. So you guys. I'll assume Joe's on Master Looter, so you guys can. All right. Modemar, that Emily is going to. She is also going to interrupt action. Modemar, that's you.
All right, so I say to Joe, pull his leg or he bleeds out, and Joe just stands there and like does whatever Joe does. So then he just shrugs, puts his foot in old boy's groin, and just gives traction to his leg so he doesn't bleed out.
Okay. Give me. This is an emergency medical procedure, so I'll give you your Woodland Scout thingy.
Okay.
But it's with intelligence.
Right. Yep.
Awesome.
And I've got treating traumatic injuries as a reliability, so I can't.
Okay. So you cannot critically fail.
So 8. That is a 12.
Okay, so that's a 12. Given the fact that it was not a lethal wound in the sense that it was not a gunshot. Like you didn't.
Well, and he didn't hit him with a crowbar.
Right. He did. It was a haymaker. It was a hell of a hit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna count this as a lower class of injury because of that, because of the way it was inflicted. So you are able to. You think it's back in place. It's definitely going to need longer term care, but it's definitely back in place.
So, out of character, does Joe have any idea what just happened?
No clue.
Or did Modemar just grab this guy who he already broke his leg and started tugging and torturing him?
Your crew at 14 sub 1. Alejandro yells out, "Cap!"
I'm just going to scream, "We need Dr. Marshall now!"
All right. That takes us down to 14 sub 2. Phil.
So they have their weapons out aimed at just the general group.
Yes, they're just kind of. It's more of a defensive or panicked sort of posture. They're not. They're just more like stay away from me kind of.
Okay. We have a doctor. We're going to bring her over to help. Please, don't shoot.
Okay, Wayne, give me. Do you have anything that actually would be useful in convincing people?
Merchant appraisal.
No.
Are the only two I've got.
All right, so 2d6 and
social.
social. See how convincing you are. 6 will say 6, 4, 2, so at least an average success. Okay, so nothing remarkable, but just at least an average success. I'll put it this way. One side is inside facing out with guns, one side is outward facing in. If this goes to gunfire, there's going to be a lot of bodies on both sides, and their side knows that too. Casey is trying to urge the doctor out of cover using himself as the new cover. That takes us to Dr. Marshall, who agrees. Okay, she is stepping out, but is staying carefully behind Casey. But she is coming out. Takes us to Joe.
So there's a stunned moment where I look at Modemar because I'm not sure, because in the heat of the moment he said pull his leg or he'll bleed out, and there's a moment where it looks like maybe I'm going to try to tackle Modemar and get him off of Weiss until I realize what he said and that he's pulling his leg so he's not bleeding to death. And even though I'm confused, and seethingly angry with Motomar for the second time in as many days.
I love getting bumped off the top of the shit list.
I'm gonna.
You're the initiator.
I'm always at the top.
I'm gonna-
Motomar always
I'm-
outdoes me.
I'm gonna just say, Doc, come on, hurry up.
Okay. All right. So after Joe goes, Cyrus, who is screaming. Okay. One of their crew members, one of the guys that is still on the Piasaw, who seemed to be the one ordering the others about
Right.
earlier, with gun in hand, says, "Every one of you assholes, put your guns down and back away from the captain, or this turns to bloodshed." Now my turn. 3, 2.
Put him down.
Does anyone not comply?
I don't have a gun out.
Does anyone who has a weapon?
I didn't even draw my knife. I just used my fist.
Okay.
Yeah. It's only our NPCs that.
And the
that might have
NPCs
them.
are on the ship on the far side.
Okay, the NPCs, because he said,
Right.
put them down, they start backing off. Okay. Casey, concerned about the escalation, urges the doc across the ship on her own. And she crosses over. She's got Doctor's bag in hand, and she jumps down. And one of the other sailors, one of the Piasaw sailors next to you, was like, back off. Back off and let her work. Sit over there. And she comes over and she starts looking at him and gives him a shot of something and starts examining him and starts calling for things like, she's trying to put together a splint for the leg to try and keep the femur and what's left, the two halves of the femur in place.
So yeah, as soon as she comes up, I won't listen to this guy, but I'll back up as soon as the doctor gets there and let her do
Okay.
her thing.
The guy who was giving the orders, he walks up to you, still has a gun in his hand, but he walks up to you. And it's not quite pointed at you, but it's not quite not pointed at you.
Sure.
And he's like, now go get those papers.
Those papers were stolen from us.
I don't care where they're from.
I do. Now, here's the thing. We could start whipping our dicks out and measuring them.
I'm not going to whip my dick out.
I stand up. Lee, that man is going to shoot you, and I am not going to care. Go get those goddamn papers out of the water.
I look at Philip. I look at Joe. I look at him. That man had stolen property. I'm not saying he stole them. I think he was duped. I think he was tricked. I think he was put in harm's way. Now, here's the thing. Go in, get the papers, pull them out. They're ruined anyway. Not going to be able to read them. All the information in that book is a copy. All the information in that book is on our ship. Do you like money? No, I'm not saying we give you money and you join us or any of that bullshit. We help him. We get him to a town. Trade what you have in here. We trade what we have in our boat. Our crews, our captain, our boat, our resources. Follow the information that's in that book. Together, we triple our profits. You're pissed. You're angry. My fault. I am sorry. I get it.
Give me a social check. I want to see. You're making, I'll be honest, 5 seconds ago, I didn't think you were even going to get a roll. But you actually are making a case that's more compelling than I thought you would.
Can I use my reliability because my reputation precedes me?
That's true. Yes. So, yes, I will allow you to use that. So,
What is that?
It's still 2d6, but you cannot critically fail.
Okay.
So if you critically fail, you automatically reroll.
How about a 17?
That's pretty damn good.
Oh, damn!
And
Dan
he's-
rolled a snake eyes.
I did, which means he's incredibly pliable right now. He's more confused by the situation.
And what Lee is trying to do is he knows the situation is escalated as high as it can. He wants to plant the seed of where we can go in the future. He's not lying. Lee is 100% serious. And now that he has planted the seed, he is working the tension down. He is putting things on the table. He's taking responsibility. He is promising that we are going to help that man in any way he can. He is making it very well known. He is not talking about paying these guys like they're some lowly mercenaries, but opening it up to say, they were tricked. You guys are potential victims. We are all on the river together here. And now, instead of getting fucked separately, let's make money together and figure out what the hell is going on so we don't get fucked again.
Lee, that's what they called you, right?
Yes.
I'm going to lay out for you the problem I got right now. It's not, I like money. I do like money. But that's not the issue.
No.
The issue is like most people out here, I'm out here because I need money. Now, this is the first, what until this shit show happened, this was the first what appeared to be good, consistent, solid paying job that I and my friends here had been offered in a good while. And we stood to make good money off of it. And given what Mr. Weiss down there knows from years of looking at books that are about nothing but trade, and then being handed a book that, to be honest, I don't know if he even needed. But even if he did, I don't care where it came from. Meant that we were going to keep getting that money. And we were going to be able to send money back to families, to pay our bills, to go out drinking and whoring, whatever it is each and every man wants. I don't care. But the point is, that's money they were counting on. Now, Mr. Weiss is out of action. I don't know how much good he's going to be doing in that bad a physical shape. And if he takes a turn for the worse, he's going to be landlocked and absolutely no use to us, and we're going to be out here sailing blind. Because I may know how to move the boat, but that doesn't mean I know where to move it. And what you're asking of me right now is to trust the people that put me in the predicament, both by tossing his trading manual and by breaking his leg. Unprovoked, I might add. I don't care what you think is stolen. He had not attacked you. He greeted you as a friend. He offered you food from our own supply stores. And he was attacked. And you now want me to trust you? I'm going to need a little more to go on than that. Now I see the predicament here. You have put me in quite a predicament. And that doesn't leave me with a lot of options.
Well,
but if you give me a good sale, you really convince me there's a way forward here. Because of the fact that, congratulations, you've put me in such a predicament, I might be a little more open to considering it than I would otherwise.
Lee kind of takes a step back. Do you see that man there? Points at Philip.
Yeah.
The book that was stolen, again, I'm not saying your captain stole the book. I say he's a victim. That man there, that was his book that was stolen. That means that the man behind the book is right there. That man there, he points to Joe, has grown up on this river since he was a child. Do you know Pops?
If you're talking about old Popeye, never met him.
You heard of him?
I heard of him.
That there is a man that Popeye raised. Taught him everything he knows. He can run this river up and down. Think of it this way. Where were we 24 hours ago? Not anywhere near you. Where are we right now? That man got us here that quick. That man down there, he rolls his eyes. Best scout on the river broke your man's leg with one punch. I'm not bragging. I'm very sorry about that. That was not part of the plan. It's a dangerous world. You
Look,
see where I'm going with that?
I've been in fights before. I've taken my licks. I can give an enemy his due.
There. That man's our scout. He's protected us. And did you see that big son of a bitch come out of the cabin over there?
I don't even want to know.
He has a great singing voice. Makes the nights pass freely. We have a full cargo. That man knows how to sell it. That man knows how to get it up and down the river. That man knows how to protect it. That man has a great singing voice. Our crew is great. We're going to make money. Your crew is capable and had their guns out before anybody else. You've got a full complement here. You've got a full cargo hold. You're going to make money. Together, we make a lot more. Now, there are some issues on the table. We hurt your man. We are in the wrong. It is my fault. If we come to an agreement, if we shake hands and agree to make money for this round trip here, all of my share will get divided amongst your crew. I will take nothing. If you want to pool that money together and give it to him for his recovery, probably a good idea. We will take him. We have a medical doctor, not a sawbones, not a nurse, a doctor from St. Louis, tending to him. Nearest good city we come to, we'll take him there, we'll set him up, our expenses. Doctor comes with us, treats your crew and ours. Mutual protection, mutual shipping, mutual profit. We will make money. Your families will be fed. He holds out his hand.
He takes a step to the railing of the ship, looks over at it, glances over to Phil.
I kind of step out of cover.
Take out a piece of paper.
All right.
Write the name of any 6 towns on this river on it.
All right.
Do you do so?
Yeah.
He turns and kind of leans over with his left hand, his right hand still holding his gun. Says, hand it to me.
I do so.
He pulls it up and takes a look at it. And then he wads it up and tosses it in the river. You're right. It was his book.
I'm very sorry. Do we have a deal?
He passes his gun to his left hand and says, all right. We go from here to the selling point for both of our ships. I don't know where you're headed. I know where we're headed.
We're headed the same place.
I don't know.
Chambers Militia.
Fine. We sail there. Our ship tied to yours. That tie gets cut. Anybody sneaks across. Anything so much as even the tiniest grain of sand bad occurs. An unholy hell gets unleashed. We make it down to Tempers. We both sell our cargo, and everything looks on the up and up. And we can come up with a mutually beneficial plan of what to do next, so that it's not one sale, but so that both sides have an ongoing profitability. then you got a deal. But if you cut those lines, if you take a shot at us, if you try to sneak somebody over here to do whatever bullshit, then know that that's what we are going to be expecting. In fact, we are going to presume that's going to happen. But if you stick to your end, and we make it to Temper, and from Colonel Temper, from that location, wherever we find him at, you are able to come up with some way to keep our ship moving cargo such that we get better, then I am willing to pretend this didn't happen. However, if you're from St. Louis, you know one other thing. I ain't the one that owns this boat. I may be the one calling the shots, but you're going to have to convince the man that owns this boat to let it work that way.
Lee kind of looks over at him on the ground.
He's currently
Well, I mean,
morphined.
Like he owns the boat, right? Lee looks down at Joe and winks at him and smiles.
Joe is very clearly not amused. Dr. Marshall, how is he?
Oh, it's painful. It's going to be a long recovery. If I had to guess, he'll probably be all right. He ain't going to walk for a long time.
Are you going to be able to tend to him while we're on the river? While we're moving?
Yeah, because it's the type of injury that if nothing goes wrong, it's pretty much just maintenance. If something goes wrong, I'm not sure if it'd matter if I was anywhere but a hospital.
All right. And I'm assuming that Cyrus is still conscious, etc.
Yes, he's now drugged, but he is conscious.
All right. The other, the true captain that Lee was talking to, where's he at?
He's up on the ship. He's
Okay.
up on,
I'll
kind of along the railing, but he's up on the ship.
I yell up at him, excuse me, sir, what's your name?
Bill,
Bill? There you go by captain, first mate. How should I address you?
well, I guess for the moment I'm Captain Bill.
Great. Captain Bill, this is Dr. Marshall. You have space for her on your boat?
We'll make space.
Very well. Dr. Marshall, you're going to be traveling on the Piasa with Captain Bill and tending to Mr. Weiss here until we make contact with Temper and his militia.
She gives an annoyed look and says, I signed on to ride on your ship, and even that against my will, but given the fact that I recognize that if I say no, it's probably going to be a massive bloodbath, and I'm probably going to be one of the casualties. Sure, why not?
I lean over to Bill. and
Hell,
say-
I'll lean off front and spread my arms like the little angel.
I lean over to Bill. I'm like, she's always like this.
So, Captain Bill, is my doctor going to be safe and unmolested on your boat?
We ain't the attacking kind.
Point taken. Well, we need to make some sort of look at Dr. Marshall. Do we need to make some sort of, I don't know, stretcher or something to get him on their boat?
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to figure out how to get this rotund man up onto the ship.
Well, we need 2 very long, sturdy sticks, and we need 2 coats, 2 long sleeve coats. The heavier the coat, the better.
I'll figure out a way to make a gurney or something for him. Just can't. I'll keep tending to him. Monomar, you can break legs. Can you make something to carry somebody?
So I'm squatted down again, and I'm eating the eggs and ham off of Cyrus's plate. And I go, yeah, no problem.
You are seriously eating breakfast, right? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Lee leans over to Bill and goes, he's always like that.
They were going to waste. Waste not.
Go make it. Joe,
Yeah, I know. I know.
no, I'm not sure you do. The hell kind of... Do you have any control over these 8 people? Do you know why officers in a lot of armies carry pistols and not rifles?
I can imagine.
There's tales, and probably most of them are longer than they are true, but the old myth is it's so they can shoot their own men. Maybe instead of a sword, should have asked for a pistol.
I have one.
All right, well, if you can get me a gurney, I'm sure between us and throwing casing, we can probably get them up overboard without making it worse.
All right. So look at Motomar. Can we do this?
Yeah. No problem.
All right. Well, let's get to it.
All right. Stand up and walk past Joe and kind of tap you on the shoulder. Worked out well.
Sure did.
Okay, so it's about 10:30, and the next plot point coming up, obviously, is going to, barring any more insanity,
Right.
be Temper's militia and a possible
I'm just texting my wife.
face
Texting her, oh my god, I'm going to kill my player.
and possible face-to-face with the Rat Man, which, if either of those events, much less both, happens, is obviously not going to be 15 minutes of gaming.
No.
So we'll call this one here and pick up next time with the boat continuing, or the boats continuing down the Mississippi toward, I forget the exact name of the town, but the spot where, I think it's Altenburg is the name of it, but the...
Look at the bright side. We're already lashed. That work's done.
Hey, Lee told you he'd get you a fleet.
So,
Lee didn't get me a fleet. Lee didn't get me anything.
okay.
Lee got you a promotion.
Post
You're
it.
now a Commodore.
Not in command of the other boat, so
Not
no.
yet.
No. In fact, if anything, I'm gonna lose my boat.
Wow.
So let's post-game general commentary. Given the fact that I was upping to the more brutal rules, I was like giving you guys every opportunity to not have this turn into an 8 on, I guess it's what, 6 plus 6 or 12, an 8 on 12 shootout. Because it was going to be an absolute bloodbath. Whichever side won, there was going to be no side without corpses. So I am glad you guys found a third path.
That's right.
Because if there had not been a third path, it was like, damn.
I kind of feel like we got off too easy, though.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh my god.
There should have been more consequences to what just happened.
I disagree. I was dancing, man.
The reason that so here's the logic as a game master. At the metagame level, given what you guys did, was there insufficient consequences? Probably so. But at the in-character level, the fact of the matter is they've not been on the river long enough to build any kind of relationship.
Right.
Captain Bill and his boys, they don't care about Cyrus. What Cyrus offered them was a shot at work and income and things like that.
An opportunity.
Precisely. And realizing Cyrus is down, and despite the fact that you guys injured him, you were also the only ones capable of saving him. And therefore, you put him in a position where he knew that to punish you would escalate things in a way that just as it would make it worse for you, it would make it worse for him. Because his people are going to get shot and killed, and he may be shot and killed. And on top of that, he's not that loyal to Cyrus to begin with. You know, he's not a mercenary per se, but his goal, it's a job. Right. He's not looking to torpedo the entire operation and get himself killed on behalf of some fat ass bureaucrat that he barely even knows.
Who now wants to play Tom Sawyer.
Exactly. And he's not stupid to that fact.
Yeah.
He gets the fact that this guy, the one thing he has is he does have a wealth of economic information. In fact, Philip, it is arguable he may know more about this stuff than you do from a certain perspective.
Yeah.
Because he's been doing nothing but interacting with merchants from everywhere for who knows how long. So he knows what's going, he knows what's coming, he knows what's making the money. You know, he has an enormous amount of knowledge, and that was his biggest concern. Now, had they been on the river longer and Cyrus made a good impression of even if he's kind of...
yeah. I mean, that was my whole thing when Lee started dancing, was if these guys were loyal men, there's no way Lee would have been able to talk them around it. I mean, they had only been on the river for less than 24 hours together.
Yeah, and they had been...
And this guy was all sunshine and rainbows. I saw a snake. Wow! It's like, good Lord.
And so that was kind of my take on it. Was I was worried at the metagame level that if I was to go full tilt, I would sink the campaign.
Yeah.
And in an in-game level, my justification was that, once again, Bill and his men, they're not yet that loyal to Cyrus anyway. It's about the paycheck. And you put, like I said, if they kill you guys, they've now lost every possible lead. Mm-hmm. They've got a ship with cargo. They might know how to get it to one person, sell that cargo, and then what? You know, it would effectively be up to them to come up with their best guesses on what to buy it, where to sell it, what the politics of St. Louis are. They were there when a lot of this was going down. They knew something was brewing.
Also, the guy, Cyrus, we were starting to reveal that he was damaged goods before the leg break. I mean, it is that he was caught up in this weird legal political battle where he may or may not have been paid to have someone assassinated, and if he wasn't, then he was being used by it. I mean, I don't know, do you want to work with that guy?
Well,
I don't know that any of them heard that, though.
Well, I figured we were all sitting around.
Once he started screaming, yeah.
Well, no, because there were people down there with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was only 3 on the boat. There was 5 off the boat. So the 5 that were off the boat heard that exchange. The other thing that I will say is that I'm always with where the dice go, the dice go.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, if you guys tried to screw them from here to where you take away their sense of they still have something to lose and now they know we're going to lose either way.
Oh, why screw them? I mean,
it's going to get
a huge advantage to have these guys.
Shit's going to get very, very violent.
Well, the interesting thing is they're only in it for money, and we're trying to deal with all of this.
Well,
so we're going to end up, after Kemper's militia, we're probably going to end up having to go back to St. Louis and not continue trying to make money.
Right, because
so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because well, I mean, how far is it from Temper to Cape Girardeau?
Actually my map, does not extend that far south.
Gotcha.
Map and south is how I got mouth. But my map doesn't extend that far south. Actually it does. I take that back. So where's my measuring card here? Is this it? I had a measuring card I was using. From Temper's militia to Cape Girardeau, 5, 10, 15, a little over 20 miles.
Okay. Not that far.
yeah, I mean, and we will have to stop in a town to resupply, like, food and water anyway, at which point we do some trading. I mean, it's not like we can save the world and load up our cargo hold at the same time. If we're trying to save everybody and then we run out of money, supplies, and are unable to move and starve to death, we can't.
Right. So we go to Temperance Militia, we exchange, and then we convince Captain Bill that the right thing to do is go to the last possible town to trade in that is under the influence of St. Louis. We trade in Cape Girardeau, and then we have our two boats lashed together. We use the GCs because we didn't get rid of third horse, correct? Spoils.
Is
I don't
that-
want to get rid of spoilies.
Did we put that up on the blog?
Horse and tech.
Yeah.
We have our own
We
resources.
Certainly don't.
Yeah, but the horse itself, I think you guys sold.
I didn't sell.
We talked about it, but we
Oh,
didn't
no,
have
you're
a
right.
chance
You
to.
did. You did.
Okay.
Yeah, you
So-
did. You're right.
Yeah.
So we've got two GCs and spoils to lug these two boats and basically tow them upriver. Because these guys don't have a lot of experience, so they may not understand what an arduous task it is to get the boat upriver. So we use the GCs to tow back to St. Louis, which is the major hub of trade.
Right.
And we have to go back to St. Louis because it's the major hub of trade. We just so happen to be there with Cyrus Weiss.
Right.
Do we bring
See,
in
now you're thinking like a conniving bastard.
I will tell you there is one thing, which was there was an important piece of info in Cyrus's book
Oh, I'm sure.
that Chad threw overboard.
God, holy crap.
Hey. Look at it this way.
There was a
I didn't
potentially
break the guy's leg.
there was a potentially game-changing piece of info in a book that is now in the river.
Because now,
And don't forget, Temperance Militia, we're supposed to be meeting the Rat Man, too.
right.
That will determine where we go next, I think.
Right. Yeah. Well, because the thing is that in his heart, Joe knew taking that boat was the wrong decision. Right. He did.
Look at it this way: the plan you, Joe, were putting forward
Right.
was sneak aboard and kill everybody.
Right. Sneak aboard and hopefully not hurt anybody. And
No.
it's the wrong plan. No.
Right.
And Joe knows it
We're
was
gonna
the wrong
sneak
plan.
aboard and not
Joe-
kill everybody.
Joe knows it was the wrong plan,
Bugs.
and Joe espoused the wrong plan because he was so angry and upset.
Right,
He wasn't
right.
thinking straight. So that when
That's why Lee-
Lee pitches a much more reasonable plan, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's a much better way to go about it.
Yeah.
Because what if we're wrong? What if
Right.
and we were wrong? We were the bad guys.
Well, and see, that's the thing. is
Everything
that-
changed when we started talking with him and realized we,
And in
we
my-
already knew he was an idiot.
Right. In
Well,
his
he's
heart,
intelligent, but he's an idiot.
right.
Well, see, that's the thing.
You
is
can be
that
both.
Lee was
Yeah.
listening to this, and he had the same realization.
Right.
Of, like, maybe not, these poor guys, but more like, these guys aren't criminal masterminds. They're not trying to screw anybody over. But he's holding something back. I don't want to say that he was lying. He knew more.
Oh, he
than
definitely.
was saying,
Yes.
and he was trying to deceive these two, and so that was Lee's play. Lee's play was not everybody gets guns out and Motomar tries to kill this guy, and Lee does this masterful shipping deal that he just did. Yes! But the only thing that Lee wanted to do was push the issue. It's just like, okay, he's hiding something. Lee held up the book, and it was just one question.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Chad, and
Yeah.
this is not snarky. It may sound
No.
snarky when I ask it. Why didn't you ever ask me, what does he have marked?
Because Lee was frustrated. Lee was like, he came up with this harebrained scheme of, well, he's gonna make a fake book and he's gonna
Yeah.
switch the books, and Lee was halfway through it, and I'm like, Chad was sitting here going, that's kind of a dumb idea, and they don't look the same. That's not ever gonna work. And then so I was having Lee think that too, but then Lee, that's why I asked, can Lee hear this?
Yeah.
And it was like, this guy is laying on some shit. And he wanted to force the issue. But yeah, I got that he had marks and bookmarks in there. And he held it up, and then he's just like, answer now. And Lee was just so pissed that he just like, fuck it, and threw it.
Were you expecting that to go to violence? Specifically, that Motomar breaks the
here's
guy's
what I
leg.
expected to happen is that I would chuck it, and you said the guy was behind me. I was expecting everybody shot like, oh, Lee, you fucker. And then his crew like tackling me and then maybe roughing me up a bit.
Right.
I was not expecting anybody to start pulling guns or breaking legs or
Yeah, that was
anything like that.
Oh.
It escalated quick. It escalated
I
way.
expected you to have a gun in your back.
Yeah, or something like that.
Well, and I thought about that because I said you hear motion behind
Yeah.
you, and my initial instinct as a GM was the guy draws a gun and
Right.
he's got a gun to your back.
Yeah.
But as I thought about it, I'm like, no, roll this back. This ain't D&D.
Yeah.
You know, with all love for D&D,
Right.
this ain't D&D. Okay, let's think this through in real life. The guy just threw your trade manual overboard. Dick move.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's obvious Cyrus knows these people. They're having a friendly breakfast, blah, 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 blah. Is he really at this point thinking it's time to kill these people?
You know,
and,
go time.
and and it's like, no, he's not going to be thinking. He's just more going to be thinking, this guy's being an idiot. He just needs, maybe needs to be taught some manners.
Right.
But he's not going to be thinking, I got to kill this guy and throw his body in the river. And they only went for the guns at the point when then Motomar did the leg breaking.
Yeah,
right.
And it was at that point that now suddenly the combat to them, because keep in mind how fast this happened.
Right. This was
You did a
moments.
you did a 3 count. The guy walks up behind you.
I was thinking maybe I should have done like 5.
Motomar breaks the leg. I mean, you were talking something that happened in the course of probably, if we get from 3 or 1 or whatever it was you ended on, throw, guy at your back, Motomar breaks the leg.
Right.
We're talking 2 or 3 seconds. And so it was in that short of a time that it went from, what is this jackass doing,
Yeah.
to holy shit, we're under attack.
Fine.
So I think Joe and Philip need to make sure that both Motomar and Lee are tied up next time we want to interrogate someone.
Like I said,
We would have got more out of him.
I want to hear Brodor's post game.
Sorry, my wife was asking me when I was coming home.
If you need to go, we can wrap this up.
Yeah. So, well, no, I mean, I have so much to say. So, I mean, it truly was. I mean, for me, for Joe, the thought process was, we're going to go get these guys. That son of a bitch, right? But then Lee says, well, let's have them over to dinner and let's get them drunk and let's do.
But no, somebody had to pull up at breakfast when no one's drinking.
So the trickery thing, and I thought, okay, you know what? Lee's right. It's the right decision. Attacking them is wrong. It's exactly the kind of thing that I would not do. It's inappropriate. I'm just angry. And I'm not angry as much at Cyrus as I am at Motomar and Lee, right? But I'm taking it out on Cyrus. So
We're a team.
we get there, and and again, Lee was right, convincing me to go through the night. He's probably the right decision to get caught up with them, and at little risk to us, which was fortunate. But then we sit down, and as soon as he starts talking, I'm like, this guy, he just wants to live his life on the river and be free, and he has less of an idea what the world's really like than even Joe does. I can't hurt this man. I can't threaten him. We can't take his boat. We can't do any of that stuff. It's not right. And I think Philip and Joe are pretty much on the same wavelength, at least in terms of this man is relatively innocent. Right, I think that he was just a pawn in this whole game. And
Innocent wouldn't be what Philip thought. In this whole thing, he was a pawn that was being used, and he was
Right.
being set up as a scapegoat.
right,
But he wasn't.
He's not. Don't see him as an innocent, but
Yeah.
in this situation, yes, he's a pawn. He's
Yeah,
being set up.
Joe sees him as just about as innocent as somebody could be. Now, how did he get the book? I don't know.
Why wasn't he coming clean with some of that?
Why didn't
Not
he
that-
have any wherewithal about? Hey,
we didn't get that far in the conversation.
I heard you just got expelled from House Color. I want to buy your house and everything in it. Here's a buttload of money, buddy. Go
Well,
buy a boat and live on the river. And he's like, okay, that sounds like a great idea. I mean, but whatever. I mean, he's as gullible and exploitable as Joe is, clearly, if not more. But
From Lee's perspective, there was a hole in his story
I say-
that he kept talking around,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that
yeah.
is
Let
what
me give you
pissed
another
me off.
option. He certainly is
Yeah.
naive. If we're to put this in D&D terms, this is a man who is a high-end, low wisdom.
Yeah.
But it's also, to Chad's point, wholly possible that there was another factor in the story, some portion, maybe not a full story, but there's some piece of that story that would have put it in a different light.
He
that
was opening
held
up to you
back.
guys. You guys were making progress, and every time you did, Lee was like, "Man, I got this stupid plan. I got this plan that's never going to work." And he kept listening, and it's like he keeps talking around it.
Oh yeah.
There it goes again. He talked around it. Oh my god! And Lee's just like, "You motherfucker! This book we stole for you. Who gave it to you?"
And it was noticed, but it wasn't.
Yeah, you were playing.
I
it
was
cool. Yeah.
I was basically going into negotiation mode,
Yep.
and my thoughts were, okay, when negotiating, he needs to know that he needs us.
Yeah.
How will he know that he needs us? He needs to know that he's in danger.
I
And I was selling that story of
think that
your name was
the-
brought. Your name was brought up.
That was the biggest mistake. There are only two bad things that happened here. One is that Lee is not a business guy. He's not an entrepreneur. He understands economics. He doesn't understand business and entrepreneurship. And he stepped on Phil's negotiation because he did not realize that Phil was negotiating. And Modmore, not that he punched somebody, he rolled too goddamn high.
Max rolled.
Yeah. I think if he would have just like hurt him or knocked him out, it would be totally different.
If that had been a head hit or a chest hit,
Oh yeah.
it would have been either like
Well, and that's why Lee.
brain aneurysm or compressed heart.
I had zero plans whatsoever of talking these guys into this mutual beneficial thing.
That was some opportunistic shit. Right
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, oh my god, we're all going to die. It's go time for Lee. It's just like, okay, let's talk this down.
All right, so last one before we close this out. Eric, I want to hear your side.
So,
Bam!
thinking about
Mic drop.
Killing.
with Cyrus. No, I wasn't thinking about killing.
It was so fun last game.
And
He didn't make it.
this one wasn't personal. This one was, one of the tenet beliefs that Modamar has is he is loyal and he's protective of his friends. And as soon as he threatened Lee, it was like, oh, wait a minute, this is not, because he doesn't understand commerce or business or even civility. He's just sees this as, oh, he just threatened my friend.
Yeah.
And then I looked over to make sure. You said there was somebody behind him. Did they have a weapon? No. So that's why I didn't go for a weapon. I was just going to use my fists, because to him, two guys slugging it out, that's just normal. That's how you settle things. And so, I mean, I just rolled too high. And then realizing that, Modamar was like, whoa, I didn't mean to hurt him that bad. That's why he immediately went to help him, to keep him from dying.
Do you think Modamar is almost, or is at least at times, a creature more of instinct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That something happens that just sets off. It's like the literal meaning of the word, like bloodlust. That something happens that just sets off a trigger in his brain, and it's almost, as much as a human being can say this, he's almost not responsible for his actions anymore. That it's almost like programming.
Well, yeah. And I anytime stuff like this happens, the first thing I think of is, what would a savage do? What would a guard dog do if you threatened its owner or somebody it cared for?
Right.
And that's so. Then that's always running through my mind.
It's not the dog's fault. It's the owner's fault.
Right?
We had a lot happen in the first half of the game that just kind of we glossed over in our post game just because of everything that happened at the end.
There was a lot of fascinating stuff that happened in the first game that I think was like kind of subtle, I guess, in a way. Like, there was a lot of things happening in the city. There was a lot of things. I totally expected you to stop us from leaving the compound and having, because there were two sides, people who wanted to give up the wounded soldiers to be hanged and the ones who didn't. And I was very surprised that you did not have us drawn into that. Like they stopped us and said, okay, you guys are behind this. What side are you on?
My thought of it was this, that from their standpoint, you're not the problem. From the standpoint of color, Holloway's the problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're angry at the overseer, which could in the long run be even worse, for trying to calm the situation with pittance sacrifices.
Right.
We'll hang these 2 or 3 people and call them at fault so we don't have to call entire houses at fault, and thus the system still goes on. Kill the few for the sake of the many.
Yeah.
Which
But when you're asked to give up your comrade for that concept, the person you serve next
Right.
to, that's a little difficult.
and so I'll take one more of these for you. And so they
No, I'll leave them.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
And so
I'll leave the hummus too if you guys want it.
oh, it's fine either way. You can take it or leave it. But they didn't per se. They didn't blame you guys for any of it. You know, you did exactly what you're supposed to do. You appeared. You spoke in good faith. You're not the ones that sabotaged the fight. You're not the one that fired the shots. You're not the one that's asking for people to be hung.
Yeah.
And so, from their standpoint, now, if you guys had opted to stay and meddle in the situation or to try and address the situation, I had thought through some possibilities of what could have happened and the ways that could have gone. But I took it from their standpoint that
Well,
they didn't blame you, and from the overseer's standpoint, no one has implicated you guys in this.
Yeah.
It's they want business as usual.
Right.
And so the question is, what's the fastest way to business as usual that gives enough of a bloodletting that every side feels vindicated, but doesn't bring down the structure? And the only answer I could come up with to that is what they're going to do, or what they did, is take the people that were actually on the platform doing the shooting and hang them all.
And my thought, as thinking it from a GM perspective, if I would have been in Dan's place looking at these, we're outsiders. This is internal house matters. They don't care what we think.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't. I don't see that the House Colway would ask us.
The way I saw it is maybe Lee was like, yeah, we're not being drawn into it. We're not part of it for now.
Yep.
And the longer we stay, the more
You'll become part of it.
Getting
If you guys had
Getting out of it
stayed-
was necessary.
Yeah, if you guys had stayed, you'd have become part of it.
That's why Lee was like, we need to leave right now.
All right, I really do need to get going.
Yes,
Before you start actually punching Eric and I. And
thank you guys for tuning in. Everyone, have a great week, and we will catch you in another 2 with the next game.
see ya.